Hello, everyone, and welcome to episode 48 of the Thought Patrol podcast. And before we get into it, real quick, I just want to explain what happens the last half hour of the show. I don't want to scrap this entire episode or have to, but the way we record, I could not fix an audio issue that occurs in the last half hour where Caitlyn is incredibly dim with her voice levels, and the way we record again, I cannot fix this in post. So I really apologize for any inconvenience. Just stick with us for the last half hour. That's all it really happens. And just, again, we appreciate you guys for tuning in every week and just sticking up with us. But this was a really important episode to us all, and I didn't want to scrap it because of this issue. So we're just going to go ahead and jump right into the episode. Thank you again, and you all have a fantastic day. I don't know how this works, but we were probably really close in like the millions of sperm that were made in my dad's nutsack. We were probably always like chilling out right next to each other, right? Getting litty and stuff.
Yeah. We were buddies in the sperm. We were buddies from the beginning.
Yeah.
But
and it's just been like that ever since.
Ever since. Porcheesy is.
Yeah.
Hello, everyone, and welcome to episode 48 of the Thought Patrol podcast. We have come back this week to just hang out with you guys, actually. This week is going to be a very chill, excuse me, I burped, and laid-back episode. We're going to be
That's how chill and laid back it is.
Exactly. We're going to be kind of, instead of the typical fanfare that we do here, we're going to be just kind of explaining ourselves as people. And you guys can learn a little bit more about us, whether you want to or not. That's what this episode's about. To celebrate the anniversary of the podcast, which was yesterday on the 21st, we're just going to give you guys an idea of who we are more as people, because it's kind of hard to gauge that when all we do is make sex jokes and talk about video games. So
I don't know. I think that's pretty indicative.
Yeah, I mean, yeah, you get the top layer, but we're delving into the deeper layers this episode. Give you guys some of our past experiences and just more stuff about us to celebrate the 1-year anniversary of our podcast. Insane. And if you guys didn't check it out yesterday on the 21st, we did do a 12.
Jim wants to be part of the podcast again tonight.
Damn straight. We did do a 12-hour live stream on Saturday. And just kind of hung out. We had Antony over. We just played games and just hung out with everybody. And we had a few people actually that stayed for the entirety, pretty much. I know you dropped by, Sam, for a while. I know Chris dropped by. We had Axel drop by, and Funny Guy were just chilling with us for practically the entire stream. It was super awesome because one of my fears of doing it is obviously we're not that large. But just having times where there wasn't going to be anyone to interact with. But you guys really made it MVPs. You guys really made it worth doing because we actually had people that we were interacting with the whole time with the just nonsense that we were going through. But if you guys do want to check out that stream and see what's going on there, it's all on Twitch. You can find it if you go to twitch.tv/ThoughtPatrol, one word. You will see the VOD.
Because Kyle doesn't know how to use a space bar.
Yeah, you'll see the VOD. It will still be there, which is pretty cool. You can check out all 12 hours of the stream, and it'll all be up there for your enjoyment. It's pretty cool. We kind of stuck to the schedule. I wouldn't say we actually did, but it was definitely a fun day. We had a big blast with everything that was going on. That was definitely awesome. So I appreciate all you guys for tuning in, stopping by, saying hi, and just hanging out with us. It was definitely a party, and we appreciate it. So before we get into our main topic, which will be what I was talking about earlier, we're going to have a little bit of an intro. This week we do have Caitlyn.
Hello.
She has joined us, and you guys have heard from both Shawn and Sam as well. Those are your hosts for tonight, and the people that will be picking their brains a bit. So we're going to go ahead and get started with the intros. I want to see how you guys. I want to see how you guys have been. Let's go ahead and start with Caitlyn. How have you been, Caitlyn? How's the week been for you?
Let me tell you, I had a wonderful week, everybody. For some reasons, I don't really know if I should get into or not, but
I mean, you can keep them.
I think you
simple.
should.
Just keep them simple. Keep it simple, stupid.
Okay. So I'm gonna tell you guys. Actually, should I say my story for now or later?
Is this? I would do it. I mean, start with a simple version, and if you want to go into it later, you can.
All right. So this week, guys, there's been this guy in one of my classes that I've been like, kind of like, oh. So and on Monday, guys, we went out to lunch. All right, and
Ooh.
I was taking him home. Not home. I was taking him to his car, and I don't know if I told you this or not.
I don't think you did.
But I was taking him to his car, and he was parked because we go to a college nearby, and he was parked in a parking garage, and this parking garage is so small and like it's really tight, right? Mm-hmm. And so when I first dropped him off, like he forgot his binder in my car, so I had to go all the way back
what a
around.
Dumbass.
Don't call him a dumbass. So I had to go all the way back around to give him his binder back, right? Mm-hmm. And then I didn't want to go all the way back around the parking garage, right? So what I did was I tried to do a 3-point turn in this tiny ass area, right? And there were 2 people waiting on me to move, like, because I don't know, they were just waiting on me.
Okay.
Right? And so what happened is I was backing up really slow, like trying to go the other way. Like, it was very slow. And I couldn't really see, so I kind of like tapped a little bit. I kind of tapped a car, yeah.
Oh, a car?
Very lightly.
All right.
But I was so embarrassed. I was like, I hope he didn't just see that. I was like, God, I was like, it was going so low. I just hit this car. And I was so embarrassed, I just drove away.
Without him?
Hit and run.
Well, it was a hit and run.
In the parking garage.
Yeah, it was a hit and run, guys. It was terrible.
All right, so you're saying you backed into a vehicle.
Yes, yeah.
In front of the hubby.
In front of hubby, yeah. It was really, and it was like after we went out yesterday, like we're like a lot more comfortable around each other now. But like yesterday, like, or when we did go out, it was still like new and shit. Yeah. So I was just like,
shitty titties.
Yeah, it was. I was like,
man, I feel you.
That is the exact words I was thinking. Like, man, Caitlyn was all nervous and she was feeling like she had I can't say it. Like, shitty titties.
Shitty titties.
So yeah.
I'm sorry. I can't do that with a straight
These
face.
are my driving skills, babe.
Hey, you like it?
Hey, you're driving from now on.
I mean, he drove yesterday, so.
But he saw it, man. He
Yeah,
probably saw
like,
it.
He's like, God,
shit,
she
I
can't
can't let her touch
anymore.
my car ever.
He's got like a 2014 too, so.
Oh man.
Man.
He's like a newer car.
4-year-old car.
Listen, I have a 9-year-old car. Okay.
Hey, I got like a 14-year-old car. So
yeah, my car's from 1983.
Ooh, okay.
No, wait. What year is your car? It's like 2004.
2003.
Oh.
Oh, 2002, baby.
Shit, my car looks like a shit movie.
It does. I can't even lie.
Like something you do.
Was a 2000.
It's like something you do cocaine in.
Dang, Shawn got us all.
It's the cocaine car.
All right.
Well, I mean, I don't actually have a car now, so I think you still win.
Well, I'm glad
Uber. His car is Uber now.
I'm glad you've had a good
Uber.
week, Caitlyn.
Thank you. I had a great week.
That's good.
Thank you.
So, how about you, Sam? We haven't heard from you in a while. How's everything been going with you?
Oh, so I'll give you the Cliff Note version of what's been going on. So first off, the past 3 weeks, for 6 days a week, I have been alternating lifting weights and doing cardio.
Oh shit!
Getting buff,
it's been going pretty good. Not a significant change yet, but I definitely feel better. I have more energy. But I am going to be making a temporary move. I'm going to be moving in with my folks for about a year. My dad is going to be training with me. He's going to be helping me get in shape for the Air Force. I want to join because just something I've been thinking about lately, and I've been researching it, and they got a lot of job opportunities for what I want to do, technology based. And well, one is just I want to get into better shape. One, that's just going to be a plus in general. And then 2, I want to get some training in there, and I've always wanted to join a military branch. if that doesn't work out, my plan B is just to go back to school. But basically, just gonna be going training with my dad, which is gonna be awesome because me and him really tight, and he's been real encourager and stuff, and I want to spend some time with him before I have to go away if I ever do join. So yeah, health lifestyle wise, it's been pretty good. It's been pretty tough with diet though. Like it's been really hard. I've been trying to stay away from the breads and all that stuff. Just trying to eat, good stuff, not many processed things. So it's been really tough, but I'm getting there. Now this past week was pretty normal. Just working overnight, stocking them shelves, doing all the normal stuff. Just came back from a wedding today. It was absolutely lovely. One of my friends, he got married. It's been a long time coming. Like they've been dating for a while, and now they're married. And I got to see a lot of people I hadn't seen in many years. That was really cool, like a mini reunion. It was nice, very very chill. Very. It was outside, which the weather today was gorgeous up here. And the food was awesome. It was really cool. And I had the first time I had cake in like a couple of months or a month or so that was like amazing.
Nice.
First time I've had like tea in a long time too, so today was my cheat day.
Definitely.
And I'll be posting pictures because I'm not gonna lie, I look pretty slick. Really slick what I was wearing today.
Oh shit.
So, well, I mean, to me it is anyway. I don't know. It's kind of subjective, but anyway. No, it was really nice. They're a great couple, and I wish them well, and hopefully get to hang out, get to see them, in the later down after they had a honeymoon and stuff. But it was a nice day today. It was a really cool day, so I'm really glad I got to go. But that's pretty much it for me this past week and the past couple months. So
what about games? Have you been delving in any video games?
Games. Okay, so let's see. I played the crap out of Ni no Kuni.
Hey.
I'm kind of close to platinum. I still have a few more trophies to pick up.
God.
Started playing Jack 3, which it's all right. Jack 2, I stopped because it got so frustrating. I almost threw my controller a few times. There are segments in that game that are absolutely ridiculous. I did beat them, but it took me a while. I guess I might be getting older. I don't know. I did pick up God of War. I was gonna wait, but from seeing videos and just how everything looked, I got it, and I did not regret it. It is really awesome. It's not just the action and stuff. I love lore. I love mythology, and Norse mythology is always interesting. It's got such a unique sort of. I mean, there are similarities to other mythologies, but this one just seems so. I don't know what it is. It's like it's so unique to me anyway. And it's a beautiful game, run on standard PS4. And I love the dynamic between Kratos and his son. If you play this game, you're gonna hear the word "boy" a lot. He doesn't say his name a lot. He says "boy." It's kind of funny. I'm sure someone's gonna make a
fat ass over here.
They've already made memes out of it.
Oh yeah, there's already memes. Was great, but no, that game is great. Don't know if I'm gonna platinum it, but I'm definitely gonna finish it. It's really cool, and like I said, it's beautiful. I love the mythology a lot. They've referenced Thor already and Odin, the normal kind of stuff for Norse mythology. But man, I gotta say, man, they really did a great job. But other than that, I haven't really played anything else. Just looking forward to some stuff coming out this summer. But that's it for me.
Sounds good. Caitlyn, we didn't ask this question with you, but have you touched any games? I know right now you're touching a game, and that's Ratchet and Clank, the
Yeah, I'm
reboot.
playing Ratchet and Clank right now.
But for games, have you looked forward to anything? Are you looking forward to God of War? I'll be picking it up on Wednesday.
I don't know. I haven't heard a lot about it, honestly. I don't think I've ever played.
You're out of the loop, though. You're out of the loop.
I don't think I've ever played a God of War game, honestly.
No, you haven't.
Yeah, so I mean, it'll be a good experience for the first time, but
I think you'll like it.
I hope I will.
Yeah.
I'm also. What else am I excited for? When is Detroit Becoming Human coming out? I need.
May.
Okay,
I think it's mid-May or early May.
I need
like
to
that.
play that.
I think it's
game.
early May.
I need to play that game like
It looks good.
yesterday. I needed to play it yesterday.
Hopefully they improved it over the flaws in Heavy Rain.
Oh yeah,
Oh my
I'm sure.
God,
I'm
I
sure
love
the
Heavy
budget's a
Rain.
lot higher here too, right off the bat.
I liked all of their previous efforts, even the ones that weren't strong were still decent
Now,
games with good story.
did they do
But
Beyond
Heavy
Two
Rain had
Souls?
those lagging moments.
I believe they
Beyond
did.
Two Souls, they
Two Souls
did
was
Heavy
good.
Rain, they did that one on PlayStation 2. I can't ever remember what it was called. It's a color or gemstone or something.
Power Stone?
No. It was like the something prophecy or some shit like that.
Indigo?
Yeah,
Or
that's
is that
it.
a movie?
Indigo Prophecy.
Indigo Prophecy sounds like
that
a
was their
movie.
first one.
Okay.
Yeah, it played like a movie, but that was their first one that was like that. And they had like a proto form of their decision engine, whatever the fuck that thing's called. And then they used it in one way. They made Heavy Rain and they made Beyond Two Souls, which are two very different games which use the engine in a very different ways. Where one is more about the experience of the story, less the choices. And then the other one is more about the branching paths. The Beyond Two Souls has different endings and different elements that change the impact of the game, but the way that it's designed is you're only really supposed to play through it once. That's your story. You know, you can play through it again and experience different elements, but it's very different in terms of how it functions and how it feels and the way Heavy Rain did.
Yeah.
And this new one is supposed to be an evolution of what Heavy Rain tried to do.
Yeah, it looks good. I'm excited for it too, and I'll be picking it up when it comes out as well. Now, Shawn, we're on to you. How have you been, cutie?
My week was doo-doo as usual. As long as I work at that place,
Yes,
it's going to
fuck.
be a living hell. But I have been playing some of the 500 digital indie games that I downloaded. Like I have like 8 Metroidvanias on here, so I decided to go back and see if I could finish one of the ones that I started that wasn't one of the... Because I've got... Of the 8 that I've got on here, 4 are the super difficult kind. Like the ultra super difficult, like the one you played.
Yeah.
Whatever the fuck that one was called, Kyle. And then the other 4 are more like standard balance, like what you'd get with Symphony of the Night or Metroid. And I'm playing one of those right now called Exile's End, which got like high middling reviews. It's a shorter one, and the story is not particularly gripping, but it's kind of fun to play through, and I like some of the things that they've done with it. Little touches to detail. When you fire a pistol, the screen shakes just a little bit, and it gives you that same kind of feeling like you get when you'd play those arcade games where every time you pulled the trigger, the controller would vibrate, and it felt like there was an impact to the rounds that you were firing, like there was substance to them.
Yeah.
It does that same thing by these little environmental interactions and things. But outside of that, it's a fairly standard Metroidvania. But I'm playing it anyway because I like it and it's still good. And I go back and grind on Ni no Kuni a bit because I don't want to play through it a second time.
Did you ever?
So I want to finish it.
Did you ever pick up Celeste or touch that game?
No, like I said, I have 8, and it's not going anywhere. So
okay.
I will buy it, but right now I'm saving money for MegaCon, and I only have like 3 or 4 weeks left, and I only have just enough for the hotel. So I don't have the food money, the souvenir money, any of that kind of shit. So I need to put away some of that.
Okay.
I've been giving my daughter $50 a week, so she's got herself covered when it comes to souvenirs. But I want to buy a Robotech figure or a Deku figure. I don't know, fucking something. I always get something.
Okay.
Even if it's just little stuff.
Yeah, no, I feel you.
So I haven't been spending money on any games. I did put down money on the Spider-Man Collector's Edition once I found out that it's not movie Spider-Man. It's not. It's going to be classic Spider-Man. Although they got that stupid-ass costume with a white on it, which I still think looks annoying. But the special edition has a Spider-Man statue, and I don't have a Spider-Man statue yet, so that's bonus.
That's cool. Cool. So you pretty much covered it. Anything else you have to add real quick, or is that it?
No, that's all I've got.
I know you've been going ham on anime.
Oh, I finished. Yeah, I have been going ham on anime. I've God, what have I watched? I watched. I can't. It's so weird because I can't remember what I've watched until like 3 weeks later. I'm all caught up on Boku no Hero. I'm all caught
Nice.
up on.
We gotta watch that, Caitlyn. You want to watch it after the
Darling in
podcast?
Oh,
the
man.
Franxx.
So good.
I finished
I have 3
a
finals.
bunch of other. Kyle, what did I finish? Come on, I talked to you about it.
I know you watched Darling in the Franxx.
Yeah, I caught up on that.
I know we watched the first 2 episodes of Hinamatsuri, which is a new comedy that came out recently.
I haven't picked that back up yet.
I know episode 3 recently came out. Episode 3. I
I
thought you said you
watched,
watched episode 3.
I think I did. I watched what's that shitty one on Netflix? I fucking gave it a scathing
one?
review on Facebook.
Which one?
I don't know.
Anime?
I'm gonna tell you right now. We're going to our sister page, the Streaming Geek, and I'm looking. Ito. It's Zero.
Yeah. It was new. It's recent new, right?
Yeah, that was
it's
trash.
like a girl. Okay, I heard it was not that
Yeah.
good.
It's not. It's super, 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 super average. Like, if you were 10, you might enjoy it because your standards aren't terribly high at that point. That's why a lot of movies that we loved when we were kids, we go back and watch them and we're like, wow, I don't remember this being this much garbage. Because we didn't, we just look at things differently then. We're easier to please. We don't have high standards. And I watched this one and I'm like, if I was 8 or 10, this would have been fucking epic. But this is so dumb. And they did that stupid anime thing with the villain and the hero where near the end they try and cover up for their lack of substance in the show by making this uber completely wastefully unnecessary convoluted like twist thing that was absolutely the most pointless fucking thing they wasted breath on. and it's super complicated and you have to sit there and smash your brain against the wall to get wrap around it, and then when you finally do understand it, it still doesn't fucking matter at all.
Okay.
So it was garbage.
What did you think about Darling in the Franxx?
I like it a lot. I like it for some of the same reasons that I really love Monogatari. Although it doesn't have as many of Monogatari's faults, it also doesn't dive as deeply, and it functions as a completely different kind of metaphor, which is fine. Darling in the Franxx, I mean, you only have to get a few episodes in before you start to see where it's going with the metaphor, but I like the fact that they don't stick to it so hard to where the whole thing is preachy.
Yeah.
It's just kind of there if you want to see it. I like the fact that, like the first and third on seasons of Monogatari, anytime there is something sexual or nudity or whatnot, it's there for a very specific reason. There's mindless fan service, which is pointless. That's the shit that you rage against all the time that I don't really care if it's in a show or not. It just doesn't really serve much of a point besides titillating, and I'm not going to be titillated by a 2D piece of cellophane, or in this case, a digital piece of cellophane. Either way, if it's not real, it doesn't turn me on. So it really doesn't do anything for me. But when it works for a very specific purpose, to set up a specific feeling or a specific element or to illustrate a specific point, then I am glad that it is there. And most of Monogatari is like that. And there's a ton of it in there, but it's all there for a very specific reason. And if you're one of the types, if you either watch very surface level on anime, like you're like, yeah, dude, Toonami, Dragon Ball Z, that's my jam. Those types of shows aren't for you because you're going to watch it and you're going to think it's exploitation or you're going to think it's being perverse, and that's really not the point. This isn't High School of the Dead. And then if you watch...
Triggered.
Which High School of the Dead was, I mean, don't get me wrong, I there's certain things I really like about that show, but there was really no purpose in most of the stuff that they did in that. I mean, it's like the artist is like, I like titties and I like awesome horror, so I'm going to take awesome horror and throw in titties.
I wouldn't say awesome.
Well, High School of the Dead actually had a really good premise. It was a really good straight up horror story. It just gets weirdly sidetracked with the sensuality. It just didn't.
It does. Like,
it's
offsetting from that show.
It is because they went. There are certain parts where I got it. They were reaffirming humanity or they were reaffirming life. I understood why it was in certain areas, but to spread it everywhere just for fun, it doesn't affect my enjoyment of a show as much as it does other people. But it can be distracting. But when you watch something. Monogatari is iffy because the second season kind of went off the rails a couple of times, but when you watch something like this, like Darlene in the Franxx, you'll notice that the sexuality element drifts away. Once
it
they've
does.
established certain story elements, once they've made you understand something, they kind of lay off of it. There's little elements here and there to keep it in your mind just enough, but once they've illustrated a specific message or a specific plot point, or they've set the tone, it takes a back seat. And that lets you know that it was put in places for very, very specific purposes. And a lot of things are understated, even if you think they're not. They leave a lot to you to understand rather than spelling it out. Now, there's certain things I wish they would have spelled out more, like exactly how the control works, exactly how the combination works between the two pilots. There's a lot that's left vague, and I think that was probably compressed for time, but they really should have explained who is controlling, who is deciding what, because it alternates back and forth as to who's doing what or how it. So I kind of have to just invent something, do that nerd thing, and go, oh, well, they left a plot hole, so I'll just make it up so that I can stay sane.
Well, the way I've come to understand that they've said a couple times in the show is that it is the male controlling the woman's body. And the woman has, like, because she takes damage, like, if the robot is to take damage, it would affect the woman. The man does not take the damage. And the man is controlling the woman's body.
Damage. They still get hurt.
Well,
but that part still doesn't make entire sense because the women are reacting, and there's certain times the woman will say that she's going to do something, and she does it, and the pilot argues with her, and it's not just the main two characters. So there's a continuity issue there that would easily be explained by how it works. Because to me, the only way I can figure it is that they're one person controlling through him. They join together as one entity, separate consciousness, but they're hold on a second. Hold on, I'm sorry.
Bork.
Having a bit of an emergency here. Just a moment.
Oh my god. Hello.
We never heard from Shawn again. And I do agree with him.
I want to return to this. I'll return to this. Just give me a moment.
Okay. I do agree with his point because they don't really go fully in to explaining. Because it's weird. Because it's labeled as a mecha. There's mechs in this show, but I wouldn't really consider the show a mecha show just because it has mechs in it. Which is it's a weird thought that I came across because a lot of the main set is these characters and the drama that is coming from them growing up in a world that is technically somewhat foreign to them, right? And I understand where you're coming from. They don't explain a lot of the inner workings of how these Franxx work. But I think a lot of it, I do think it's a time constraint. It usually is a time constraint of some sort.
I think it's compression for sure. I'm sure that with the light novels or the manga, they explain it a bit deeper. It's probably my biggest complaint about it is that it's too vague. I mean, they give you some hints, but it's too vague. Them living in a microcosm, you know how like some shows where it's almost like the characters exist without a world around them, like the rest of the world just seems empty. That always bothers me, and I realize that it's a storytelling tool, but I just think it's a horrible one. And I think it's one that's rarely, if ever, used properly. And here, there's still problems because there's so few people they're exposed to. The command structure is very, very limited. You see other people very rarely. And I still think they use it too much, but I understand precisely why they're doing it. And I understand that more of that's going to be illustrated as time goes on because a lot of their world is kept a mystery from the viewer on purpose. And so the microcosm here, I have considerably less a complaint about because they're handling it better than most shows do when there's like 4 or 5 characters doing stuff and you never see fucking anything else. And if you take a look back toward like the late 80s, early 90s when you had stuff like Tank Police and shit like that, there were just NPC characters everywhere. They were fucking in the background, they're faceless. There's tons of people. The cities felt jam-packed with people. They felt alive. And in a lot of these more modern anime, when they're focusing on a group of characters, you never see people shopping in stores. You never see them walking down the street. In Monogatari, that's done for an extremely specific purpose. I love how they handled it because it's the psychosis of each individual person as to how the world is to them, whether other people exist to them or not. In this, it's done for a very different purpose because they're intentionally secluded and bubbled off from the rest of the world and intentionally kept ignorant. This group's a little bit different. They're given more freedom for a purpose, which hasn't been entirely illustrated yet. But I don't know. And when it comes to the sexuality part, like I've read reviews on it where they complain and they talk about the exploitation of teens and they talk about the sexual elements and the nudity elements. And it's frustrating to me because I think it's ignorant, number one, to look at something without looking at the context in which it exists. Because then you're not really looking at something. You're hearing the echo or the noise, but you're not paying attention to the actual sound. You're not listening to what it's saying. And number two, that's frustrating to me because anyone who's ever been a teenager before, which is all of us, understands, number one, that teenagers may be ignorant, but they're not stupid. And number two, they are sexual creatures. We had feelings. We were into people. We probably touched ourselves. That's a thing. It exists. So to put a teenager in a show, especially one with this kind of a premise where they're paired up in male-female units, and to try and pretend that that kind of thing isn't there, that it doesn't have a heavy influence over their existence, would be stupid. And to watch a show like this and to have that not be a factor would have been a much larger issue, in my opinion, to the story's integrity. So to sit there and show that these characters are learning these feelings like way later than they should have. They're figuring things out for themselves. Humanity finds a way, so to speak. Life finds a way. They are figuring out who they are and how they feel and what things mean to them. The sexuality in this show, what little there is, and there is, I would say, a significant amount, but I wouldn't say it's heavy, even though there is a fair amount of fan service in it. It all exists for a purpose, and you see that drift away as the series goes on because it's no longer necessary, because you understand. And I think that's, to me, I have absolutely zero complaints about the fan service. I think that's my... Sam, by the way, you and I, we don't do cliff notes. You know that, right? Like, that's just not a thing we can do. We are not short-winded people.
No,
but
it's fine.
It's frustrating. I mean, and people are allowed to have their opinions, and I have no problem with their opinions. But when their opinions aren't based off of solid evidence, it's frustrating for me because it feels like they're missing the point. It's like somebody bitching about Romeo and Juliet because it's got two sexually active teenagers, or because they commit suicide and it sends the wrong message. Obviously, you weren't reading that properly. You didn't get the point. You didn't get why he wrote that, which is okay. You're allowed to take from it what you personally take from it. But what you aren't allowed to do is to try and decide whether that is right for other people. And I see a lot of people do that, and it's really frustrating because I think this show does it right. And there's a lot of people that are complaining about it. These are the same crowd that like to attack SAO, despite its flaws. I think SAO did something very similar, but they did it with a softer touch. It was done a bit more strongly in the manga. They kind of left certain things vague in the cartoon, which were not vague in the book. It's pretty clear what happens, and that is frustrating to me because I think those elements with SAO, it's not the realism of the show that's important. It's the development of the characters and the journey they take that makes that show so special. And the people that are hating on it completely miss the point. And that's the same kind of thing that's happening with Darling in the Franxx. Anyway, I think people are hard on it for the wrong reasons. I don't bitch when people are hard on something for the right reasons, but I think that Darling in the Franxx is worth a look. There's only 9 more episodes before the story comes to its conclusion, so I'll probably have more to say on it at that point in time. But up until now, it's doing something fairly different, and I like how it's handling it. And again, I think that it is mindful fan service, not mindless. It's thoughtful fan service, and I think that is a defining feature.
And I think another reason why there's been we see so much outcry about it is it's popular. It's a big show right now. It's and more popular than I thought it was going to be. I think some of that might have to do with the fact that it was it's possible. I'm sure it got some traction whatsoever from this, but the whole thing with Kim Kardashian, it being posted on her Instagram, people found out about it that way. A lot of people did.
It's true.
And one thing you see, the more that something is put out there, especially niche things like anime, with people that aren't accustomed to the quirks that come with watching a show, especially anime, you kind of see that. They're like, well, this is weird, and I don't like it, so I'm going to complain about it, which you're completely right. You have complete freedom to do. And we have complete freedom to be mad at you for doing something, especially if it's done in ignorance. But I think that might be a lot of the reason why we hear a lot about this too. But this show's incredibly large right now, and it's not safe. Like, My Hero Academia is really big, but it's chill. Like, you wouldn't really have a lot to
take any risks.
Yeah, that's what I'm saying. It doesn't take those risks. It's very safe. It's a very safe show, and that's why no one really has any issues with it. This show, I could see a lot of people sitting down for the first time to watch an anime because Kim Kardashian put it on her Instagram. Although I don't think this is the biggest reason it's so big, because it's a very good show and it gained traction that way as well, and just word of mouth. But when someone sits down to watch something like this, they're like, well, they're just not used to that. And again, like how you're saying, you have to look at something in the context with which it was created, because no art or media and whatsoever is created within a vacuum. It's all affected by something else in one way or another. And we're seeing not only we've said it before, but we're seeing this is content created by a different society. It's not the same type of society that we have here in the States. They have a different thought process, a different way that they view nudity in general. Even if you look at just the way that the structure of of Japan is set up, they view nudity completely different than we do. To the point
most countries do, man.
Yeah, and again, we're not going to get super deep into this because not everyone really cares that listens. But
yeah, that's true. I go on and talk
I
about
appreciate
the Discord, and people like, oh god, here it's another anime discussion. I'm like, we're in the fucking anime fucking folder, dumbass.
I think
what is your problem?
I think to like add to it, we always gotta think it's anime is a Japan thing. It is a different thing culturally, and when you have in each thing, people who watch it understand it. They've actually done their research. They know about why this is this way and why this is that way. And when you're trying to show it on a broader scale, it's going to be hard for people to get into it or to even understand it, because when they look at it first, they think, wow, this is really perverted, or this is just so out of whack. And, that's not necessarily a bad thing. I mean, they don't understand it. But that's the thing, is that, we who enjoy it, we want to know more about it. We try to understand it. We try to see where they're coming from. And when people criticize it and they don't understand it or don't try to, research it, then it's like, it's kind of, why are you even critiquing it if you don't even, know about it? So,
Nabokov's Lolita got burned when it was released because people didn't stop to understand the story. So like, oh my god, it's about this, and this, and Lolita, and she's only, 15 or 16 or some shit like that. God, it's a fucking sin. Light it on fire.
Yeah.
It is what it is, I guess. It's frustrating. I get mad, dude. Man, especially when it comes to something as important as sexuality. When people shut their minds off, you're losing a piece of what it means to be human by deny that something exists. And most other countries have no problem with it. They understand that people are sexual beings. They understand that it starts fairly early on, and that we just lack certain wisdoms to make all of the right choices, which is why it's good to hold off until such and such a point. But in America, we're so, even today, with things moving forward as they are, I mean, granted, politics and the government's trying to put the kibosh on shit, but you can't stop evolution. You can't stop people moving forward. You can try all you want to. It's going to happen. And people are waking up and they are realizing things. There's a massive amount of people, both here and to a slightly lesser extent in Britain and Ireland and in Scotland, but mostly here, where they're just like, if you're under the age of 18, you are just a child and you can't say anything for yourself. You're not intelligent enough to figure life out. You don't know what you're doing, et cetera, et cetera, et cetera. And that simply just isn't the case. There are children out there of varying ages who are able to step far beyond the reaches of most adults. Now, I agree that a rule of thumb exists for a purpose, and I know that's a horrible term, but there are rules in place for good reason, but that doesn't mean that you can't understand how people work and how they function and why they function the way they do. And a lot of that plays very heavily into anime. And a lot of it plays heavily into other stories that come from other countries, which are, taboo over here. And it just doesn't make sense. I mean, France figured it out ages ago, and they were, at one point in time, they were backwards too, but they don't balk at all at stories like this. And now, I don't know, man, it seems like everybody's trying to take a step backwards, and it's frustrating.
Well,
stories like this are good stories, and to sit there and attack the story based off of an element out of context is ridiculous. And if anybody is listening and you are interested, the most shocking parts of the show are in the first 8 episodes or so, and then it eases off. So if you're, I'll tell you, I would have no problem with my daughter watching this if she was in high school, but I would watch it with her, and I would talk about it with her after she's watched the episodes and the themes and why things are presented the way they are, and get her feedback on it and so on. But I don't think that there's anything toxic about the show. I think it's very, very good. I think it tells a very interesting story, and it does a lot of things right, and it takes risks in such a way that I don't think are nearly as difficult to swallow as what Monogatari does. Monogatari goes way heavier into metaphor. And it uses very risque ideas when it's doing that, but those are done. Again, whatever. I'm repeating myself. Let's move on.
All right. So that was Shawn's short review. Emphasis on short. Yeah, but I echo, like most things, I echo your opinions for the most part. I really enjoy this show, and even if you're not looking for something to look deeper into, it's just a good drama that has some good scenes of action in it too. And if you're just looking for something that kind of shows the human condition and people who were kind of born in a non-normal, like something that we would see normal.
In a bubble.
Yeah, and then exposed to the world and then discovering that, almost kind of along the lines of Violet Evergarden. It was kind of the same thing. You had a blank slate that had a lot forced upon them very quickly, and they had to kind of adjust, as humans do, to their environment. This is kind of what's going on here. And if you're looking for that drama, there's romance going on, there's drama from the romance going on, and there's genuinely some really good-ass action scenes. Like, a lot of the fighting...
Yeah, there's more of the drama than the action.
Oh, yeah. Especially as we move further in, there's a lot more drama than there is action. But I'm just saying, on top of that, there's some badass action scenes. Like, there's a bunch of scenes, although some were harboring upon not that good, but a lot of them were really good, animation-wise at the very least. And there was some just fun. The music's fantastic. Like, when shit goes down, they have that song with the lady going like, oh, or whatever the fuck she does. I was completely out of key. But that shit is awesome. That song is fucking fantastic. Clip that. Make it your... Clip that. What the fuck?
I'm going to need you to sing me to sleep every night now.
I got you, fam. That's what I'm best at. So... I definitely recommend it if you're out there. I'm sure if you're in anime, you've heard of it, at least in one way or another, because a lot of people are talking about it right now with the recent, not controversy, but recent shit going on with it. So I definitely I recommend it. It's good. And I have Hector watching it, who was one of our friends. He does not watch anime that often. He's watched like Naruto and some of the more things, so I didn't know how he was going to feel about something that was a little bit more nuanced as this, but he fucking adores it. He loves it so much, and he's super excited to get back to it, as am I. So I definitely recommend it out for all you guys out there. It's really good. It's really good. What else can be expected from Trigger? They take chances, and they make good shows, so...
Didn't they do that one about the parallel realities and the like the different they had guns and with the World Trigger or something? Didn't they do that one?
I don't think they did World Trigger. Or was it World Trigger? It was World something. I know what you're talking about, but no, I don't think they did that. From what I know, Trigger did Kisniver, which was a good show as well. Also a drama. Kisniver, they did Darling in the Franxx. They've done Kill La Kill, Gurren Lagann. They worked on Gurren Lagann.
Gurren Lagann was magic.
And a few other shows. They've also held like in animation assistants and other shows. But they make good stuff, man. They have good directors over there at that studio. Bless you again, kid.
Bless you.
Thank you. I don't know why I'm sneezing so much. I'm allergic to some bullshit in here. So.
It's that's how Caitlyn reminds the audience that she is still here and still listening. Make sure she has not passed away.
Bored.
I think you'd like Darling in the Franxx, Caitlyn. It's really good.
Because I'm only watching it because Kim Kardashian posted. I'm kidding. I'm kidding.
All right. So I'm glad you're doing good, Shawn. Now, that was still an intro. Find it hard to believe for all you tuning in. But for games, for me, I've actually dived a little bit back into Warframe, playing a little bit of that here and there. I haven't gone balls to the wall on it, just playing it. I think Warframe would be a fantastic game. They might already be working on it, but to have crossplay for, I would fucking adore that functionality, because Warframe, you have to make an account to sign into it anyway. So if they set up a server where all the accounts just from like how Final Fantasy 14 does it, and everyone connects to those servers, I don't know how easy that would be. I'd love to do crossplay Warframe, because no one fucking plays Conclave, which is their competitive stuff. Everyone does the co-op together. So I'd love to play Warframe with like PlayStation players and shit, where my frames don't take a shit every time I visit Earth, because I have an old PlayStation. But I play a little bit of that. Been playing Siege still. Really enjoy, man. I cannot say how much I fucking adore that game. Just the feeling that you get from the moment to moment gameplay, and just that tension that is constantly building every round, from the time to kill and how to effectively hold sight lines, understanding what operators do, all of that. Really fucking good game. Absolutely adore it. Also played a little bit. I've been getting back into League of Legends, actually, because I found more people to play it with. Like, back in the day, League used to be pretty much the only game I played. I'd come home from school. We didn't have a console, really, because the new generation had come out, and we didn't delve into it because I was leaving for boot camp soon. I didn't want to drop money on that if I wasn't going to be here to even touch it. Look how that turned out. And I just religiously played League of Legends for like 3 years while I was in school. I just came home and played that game on I think it was your laptop, right, Caitlyn?
My piece of shit.
On the Potato 3000. So just super awesome being back in that game and trying to just get back to learning everything. Although I could say I'm caught up. But that game, the same thing as well. It's so rewarding to do good, because there are so many decisions made early on that lead to that result. Like, there's so much that you have to be aware of in high level play, that when you do well and you succeed and you start to carry your team, this being made from hundreds of decisions you made within the first 10 minutes of gameplay, it's just that feeling feels good. And the from the learning curve that comes with MOBAs to just understanding everything, knowing the area of influence from 115 different fucking characters, understanding what each and every one of them does and how they match up against others. It's just, there's so much to learn, and utilizing that knowledge in gameplay, it's just such a rewarding feeling doing well in that game. So that's why I adore it so much. It's so much fucking fun. So I've been doing that. Yesterday on the stream, when we were hanging out there, I finished Iconoclast finally on stream, and that game is fucking awesome. That is all I have to say. That game is fantastic, and it's one of my favorite of recent time, like Metroidvania style 16-bit platformers. It's fucking awesome. The writing, characters, gameplay, the way the Metroidvania system is held, how you are utilized, how you get more equipment, and how you use that to traverse the world. Everything about it, it's just good. It has a charm to it with the way the characters are, the humor in it. It's just such a good game and such a good adventure to just kind of delve into. I loved every second of it, and I'm kind of sad that it's over, in all honesty. Short game, only took me about 10 hours to beat, but it had its times of challenging, times of fun, again, humor. It was just such a great game, such a great story. I really enjoyed it a lot. So I definitely recommend checking that out. It's all over the fucking place. It's on
the second Metroidvania you've suggested to me? Wasn't the other one a Metroidvania too?
No, Celeste is just a platformer, if that's the one you're referring to. That is straight up just a hard-ass fucking platformer. But that game is also good as shit, dude. Oh, yeah. It also has really good writing and good story, too, which it just
Music's
makes me...
great, too.
Yeah, it makes me so happy. I love it because... I don't remember what the fuck I was going to say. That train just derailed instantly. It didn't even get going anywhere. But, yeah, all those games are fantastic. And I love just these indie gems that we've been getting. They're so good, and sometimes rival, or a lot of the time would rival AAA experiences for the most part, even do better than a lot of them. And it's just so nice being able to play them. I love them so much. And Celeste will be a game I remember for a long time. Same as Iconoclast. Both fantastic games. And me being such a huge fan of animation, like the sprite detail and the level of the work that they put into these sprites and the animations that they perform is just mind-boggling. Because they're not working with a 3D model. You're working with little blocks that you have to make look like a person and feel realistic. And I can't imagine how hard it is to work on that effectively with the technology that we have today. It's crazy.
Yeah.
Well, they were doing it in the 80s and 90s with 16-bit and 8-bit tech.
Yeah, they were, but like
if you out emotion,
you go look back at like, I'm not saying that they were bad, but the technology couldn't afford the level of detail I'd say we have now. But it's still again good, and I can't imagine having to do it on and try and make something look realistic back then as well. But then again, a lot of time when you're younger, your mind does fill in a certain level of imagination. Your mind fills in the gaps. Just mute the mic. That's fine. Grandma got to figure out if Caitlyn got the dick or not, right, Caitlyn? Jesus, Grandma is so into the love lives of everyone. It's ridiculous. Grandma's a little thirsty. It's so funny. You gotta love her though. At least she cares. Depending on how, if you think that's a good way of showing it. But it's awesome. Again, I love. It's weird, but I love fucking video games, you guys.
So since you're real quick, just I guess, there is a game coming out this summer that I think you would enjoy immensely. It's called Chasm.
Okay.
It's a Metroidvania game in more of the it looks gorgeous. It's like this pixel art graphics. It's been teased for a long time. Like I've been waiting for this game for like
a few years.
2 or 3 years now, and it's finally getting released for PS4, and it's coming to the PS Vita too, which I'm surprised, but I guess they had promised that earlier on. But yeah, it's coming out this summer sometime. I don't know when, but man, like if you loved Iconoclast, I think you're gonna love this one too because it looks amazing.
I'm
looks
pumped.
really
I
good.
almost I have it on my computer. I started it. I never finished it, but I picked up Super Metroid, like the emulator for it, just because I want to get back. I just want to play that game again, thinking about it, like how good it was. So I started it. I just didn't have. I had to get back to it. And with me picking up God of War on Wednesday, it's just I don't have enough time as I fucking used to with the way my schedule is now. But I definitely want to get back. I love Super Metroid. I might even, although I hate saying this, I might put it on my phone and try it. But I don't think I can get very far doing it that way. So.
I would.
You should play the reboot of What was it? Metroid 2: The Return of Samus or whatever. The one that was
I don't have
originally
a
a Game Boy
3DS.
game. Yeah, but you can. There's a. I mean, you should get the emulator or whatnot to play that because that story goes directly into Super Metroid and it adds some emotional impact to it. I played that one before playing Super Metroid, and like when near the end, there's a moment where I actually teared up, which I don't think anybody would have imagined.
Yeah, looking at like 6 blocks on the screen, and like 2 of those blocks being ass blocks.
Do you remember the Metroid that tried to kill her and then at the very end gave its life for her?
Yeah. Spoiler.
There's a reason for that.
Yeah, I know. I don't know. I don't know the full details, but I understand somewhat how those events came to be. I want to play Metroid Prime 4 too. That's not out yet, but I want that game. Like yesterday.
I'm still trying to think like what they're gonna do with it. Like, are they gonna? I mean, if it is Prime, they got to stick with the first person viewpoint, obviously. But like, how are they going to like? Where in the timeline is it gonna be? Is this gonna be brand new in the future? Is this going to be a early Samus adventure? I mean, there's just so many things they could go with. So, and hopefully we'll see some at E3. I hope. I would imagine they would show something at E3.
If they don't show that, I better fucking see Pokemon. I better.
Wasn't Prime a prequel? Didn't Metroid Prime take place before the Metroid trilogy?
No, I don't
Shoot.
think so. Other M
I
was a
don't
prequel, I think, wasn't it?
so.
Fusion was a prequel too. And Fusion,
I don't think-
yeah, it was, because in Fusion, her armor was fucked up with that dark shit from
Mhm.
Metroid Prime. So I'm
I don't-
I'm almost positive. I'll have to look it up, but I
Yeah,
could have sworn
I'm
it was
not entirely
the whole
sure about
Prime.
the timeline. So, but yeah, if we don't, Nintendo's got to do something, man. Like, there's so much hype for these things coming out. We better see at least a few of these things. I would love to see even a trailer of the new Pokemon that showed a little bit of gameplay. If they showed that, I would proceed to seizure on the spot. I would have an uncontrollable seizure. I would shit my pants and pee myself and maybe a little bit of ejaculate in there. I would lose my mind on the spot.
Right when I thought you couldn't get more disgusting, you just kept going.
I actually have the timeline right in front of me.
Hit us up. What is it?
So, the mangas are actually the prequel to everything. Like the first 2 volumes are actually the prequel to everything.
I'm talking about
Yeah.
games.
Yeah,
Interesting.
and then games is Metroid, then
Okay.
Zero Mission, Metroid Prime, Metroid Prime Hunters, Metroid Prime 2 Echoes, Metroid Prime 3 Corruption, Metroid 2 Return of Samus, Super Metroid, Metroid Other M, and then Metroid Fusion.
Okay, there you go. So you were right. They're like actually really early on in the fucking chronological story. That's crazy. So yeah, just been loving that we have so many games to play. It's cool. Really enjoying it. And that's about it. Again, I've been watching all the basic anime coming out. My Hero, Darling in the Franxx. I really like Hinamatsuri. I love the deadpan comedy in that show. I think it's pretty well done. And there's actually, again, I'm just a stickler for animation. There's like some really good scenes. Like there's like one scene where they're having because they're this girl basically lands in this Yakuza member's house, and she's like a psychokinetic person, so she has powers. She can move stuff with her mind and do stuff like that. And someone eventually sent after her to try and kill her, and instead of them fighting, the Yakuza member convinces the other girl to have like a fight, and it's a game I guess they play in Japan called Look This Way. I don't know how they do it in real life, but the idea was to force the other person with your powers to make them turn their head another direction. And then it just goes like practically like One Punch Man level of like the one girl trying to make the other girl move, and there's like wind like pushing her face in all these different directions. And it just looks really fucking good. Like it's just it.
That was funny.
Yeah, if you're looking for something that's more laid back, especially with all this other shit going on, I recommend it. It's funny. I like it a lot, and I like the characters in it. And with the 3rd episode, I would have to say, Shawn, my favorite character would either be Hina or the girl that came after her, the blonde girl, because all of episode 3 is kind of, or half of episode 3 is like her story after what happens in episode 2. And it's just like it's like really oddly heartwarming and shit, like everything about it that goes on, because it's kind of explaining how she's moving forward. And it's like kind of like that thing where it teaches a little bit of a life lesson. You get some sad moments, and I was not expecting it whatsoever from this show at all. Like this like kind of not very funny, but like sad and heartwarming adventure about that, and all that shows is interesting.
I don't know. They kind of telegraphed it with the previous episode because they had these moments of real between all the comedy. But that's what makes good comedy, is when you can ground it in something to make you care about the characters. And honestly, I think they'd be making a huge mistake if they didn't expand his family, because he's obviously dead now. And I'm intentionally staying away from the manga with this one, where usually I try and speed read through mangas for other shows like while I'm watching them. With this one, I'm trying to stay away from it. But I think they'd be missing a huge opportunity if the dude didn't end up adopting her too.
Yeah, I like it a lot. It's good. And that's about it for my week. Been working, doing some school, and just chilling. So I'm glad you all can join me. Caitlyn still is not back, so we are going to start we're going to start with the questions, and we'll leave her for last.
Oh, you forgot a show, by the way. Persona 5 animation. That is freaking amazing. It is like I am loving it. So well, not just because I played the game, but just how like it's being brought to life. And yes, the game does bring it to life, but it's so amazing now. I get to see like the story like develop in the way, and you actually the main character has a name now, which doesn't really matter, but it connects you with them. But I just gotta say the animations are fantastic, and I'm loving this way of watching a story that was a game, but now it's like it's a show, and it's cool to go back, and then you think like, man, like now I'm getting memories back of playing it. What was I doing on these moments and stuff? So it's just a really interesting way of seeing it. So
all they have to do is play the music, and I'll get brought back to that moment.
Oh
that
yeah,
I was like that song they play like when you're in your house at night, just chilling.
Mm-hmm.
I think it's called "Beneath the Mask" is the name of the song.
Yeah.
That song, every time I hear it, I have it on my phone. I'm brought back to like just playing the game at night and kind of chilling, and then at night you're just walking around or hanging out in the room before you go to sleep for that day. And I'm brought right back to that moment with that music. Same thing with the battle music, as annoying as it fucking is to me, because I've heard it for literally hours on end. I've heard the battle music. Hearing that, I'm brought back to the stuff. Or when Joker goes through his first thing and he gets Lupin. I don't remember what his persona name is. Arsene. Yeah, when he gets him back.
Yeah.
And seeing that, I do understand where you're coming from, though, because a lot of the time the filler in between the moving around, the way it was brought to us, is it was text boxes you'd read and then 3D's models moving around.
Mm-hmm.
But seeing them kind of build this world and have to show everything animated and stuff like that, it's nice seeing that too. And there has been small changes to the story. But it's nice seeing a slightly different take on it. And I like it too. It's good.
Yeah, like Kamoshida, and I won't spoil, but man, Kamoshida's Japanese voice is so much creepier than his American dub. Like, it is just like, man, this dude is like way pervier sounding now than he was, like, and just like his attitude and stuff. So they changed him a little bit, but not much.
See, I haven't listened to the English, so I wouldn't know.
Yeah, well, yeah, I listened to the English when I played the game, so it was like, but yeah, his voice is so creepy.
His Japanese voice is fucking weird, dude. It's creepy.
It's super weird, but no, and the pacing's been great. Like, they've basically, it seems like every episode they introduce a new character and stuff, and then I'm not sure what they're gonna do after the first palace arc. Like, I don't know if they're gonna go to the next palace right away, or they're gonna do the filler in between. I don't know, but the pacing's great. Like, it's a nice, like, okay, here's your character. Next episode, here's the next one, the third one, and then like I think they'll finish the palace and then they'll move on. I'm not sure, but like I like the pacing though. The pacing's really good.
Yeah, I like it a lot. What am I trying to think? What am I trying to say? Oh, dude, the opening too. Like, I like how they managed to keep the charm from the game. I mean, it's not hard, but like from the design and everything to it, you still get that same exact feel you get from playing the game. Although I do recommend, if you want to experience the story, definitely play the game first. It's the best way to go about doing it. Yeah, but like the opening is fucking awesome. And it fits in tow with every other song that they've made for Persona 5. It's so fucking good. And just the opening, the animation, the music, everything about it, it just gets me excited because I feel like I'm playing the game again. It's so good. It's really awesome. So that's that. Again, I'm glad you guys could join us. We're going to move on into our main topic. And we're going to, again, I explained a little bit earlier. I'll have, basically, we've had every host sit down and think of a question 5 minutes before the episode started, so they had plenty of time. And we're all here now, and we're going to basically ask the question, do a roulette, and all these questions are going to be either something kind of deep, something lighter, something explaining our thoughts, the way we work, our minds work, our personality, something like that, so you guys can get to know us a little bit better. And feel free, if you hear any of these questions and you want to answer it for us, fucking hit us up, dude. Join our Discord. Mm-hmm. Do it on YouTube in the comments section. Even email me, and I could share it with everybody else. However, whatever is comfortable with you guys. We'd love to hear your guys' answers to these questions. So definitely let us know what you guys think whenever you guys get to this episode. we would really appreciate it, because a lot of this we also kind of want to hear from you guys too. Just what kind of people tune in and how you guys are. So definitely hit us up with that information. We'd love to hear from you guys. So first question is Sam's, actually. So what we're going to do, I'm going to have you explain it to the best of your ability, and we're going to go and leave Caitlyn to last, so hopefully she gets back by then. If not, I'm going to go drag her in here by her hair so she can fucking answer this question. But yeah, so Sam, all I have here written is entertainment, but I want you to divulge on that.
So it's kind of a layered question, but hopefully it'll make sense. And you don't have to answer every point, but my question is what is your personal philosophy when it comes to entertainment? And what I mean by that is, like, and I know there's different forms of entertainment, and we indulge in them for different reasons, but when it comes to entertainment, like, what is your goal with it? Do you want it to evoke an emotion from you? Do you want it to enrich your life? Do you want it to make you question things? I mean, a lot of people, we play games to kind of shut our brains off sometimes in order to relax or whatever. But then there's sometimes we play games that, challenge us, or mentally, emotionally. I just want to know, like, when you decide to do something as, like, either hobby or something you enjoy, what is your philosophy behind it? Like, what makes it so appealing to you personally?
All right, I'm gonna have. Actually, the way we're going to do this is the person asking the question will answer it first themselves, and then we'll rotate. So, Sam,
okay.
So you can give us kind of an idea of how you want the answer to flow, since you thought of the question, and then everyone else can kind of do what they want with it.
So when it comes to me, most of the time it is just a way for me to decompress. I mean, I don't have a very hectic life or schedule. But I mean, I have a 40-hour, job week. I have, house duties around here. But I just kind of do it just to sort of relax. It's a way for me to sort of kind of contemplate the day, what's been going on. And that's when I play a game. When I watch a show, I usually is when I eat lunch or whatever, because it's just a way to, pass the time. But for me, entertainment is about just turning off, like, just sort of, enjoying the moment, kind of like the bliss, sort of. And that can be even with other people, like, one of the things that me and my sister and brother-in-law love to do is play Cards Against Humanity, which, is really fun, really effed up, but it's fun nonetheless. And yes, it can get heated in competition, but to me, it's a different type of enjoyment. It's not like, I still find it a very relaxing thing, a relaxing hobby, because even though there's a lot of energy, there's a lot of, sometimes a lot of emotion sometimes with it, I still feel like it is a way for me to just enjoy time with family and to just enjoy this free time you have, because I feel like in our society, it's just, we've been engineered and wired to say, okay, you have to do this and this in order to have a fulfilling life, or to, to be successful, or to be, productive. And, I'm just the kind of person that, I feel like once I get my work done, I'm off the clock. I'm just trying to do something that I enjoy doing something that, enriches me, not just emotionally, but just I don't know. I want to, because it really, when you think about it, the moments we remember the most are not from work. They're not from obligations. They're from things that we chose to do with people that we love and people that we like to share things with. And that's why I see entertainment as a way of enriching my life by chilling out, by relaxing. I think that's the purpose of entertainment, in my opinion. That's my philosophy about it. So, but yeah, it's just a way for me to enjoy life if I had if I had control of it.
Yeah, it's like a little spice, a little flavor enhancer, get you closer to Flavor Town. And then just I understand. And I think a lot of people do that. That's why a lot of times what was I gonna say? Fuck me, man. That's 2 train derails right off the bat. A lot of time you see, people come home and they'll jump on a multiplayer game, hang out with friends, and you're creating moments with people that you deem important in your life. And a lot of it is that interaction between you and your friends in the game and other people. And it's a way of taking the hard I don't know what the fuck I'm trying to say.
Taking the hard, huh?
Yeah, you're taking the hard one.
Taking it hard.
You're taking
You're
taking your day and bringing it to a nice close, basically, so that when you're kind of refreshing yourself for tomorrow and getting ready to get back into that cycle, basically. So yeah, I definitely agree with you, and I think since we're all just answering this question, none of us here are wrong in any way, shape, or form. It's just definitely how we come to handle these things, and some people just do it for different reasons. And I definitely would agree with you that it's a very good decompressor, especially video games, man. And I think a lot of that also comes down to just escaping, trying to put your mind on something else. And if you're given a great story and good characters to do that with, something that's fantastical, which most video games are, it helps with that decompression because your mind is not thinking about the fact that you have to start work in 5 hours or whatever. 7-8 hours. So, what about you, Shawn? What do you think about entertainment, boy? I know you got
to escape from my life.
Yeah, you got a big boy answer here.
That's the entirety of it. It's very simple. Either it's something that I can escape into, or it's something that can keep me busy. Like the whole time we're talking, I've been sitting here running back and forth in a map on Exile's End. I don't have to think through this game. I've already been through this level like a million times because I can't find the fucking way out. So it's not like I'm sitting here and enjoying the 16-bit style graphics or anything. I'm just running through trying to find a way out. I don't have to think to do that, but it's relaxing to do it. So it's either I'm decompressing or I'm escaping. That's the entirety of why I play video games. With the social stuff, the only reason I even play multiplayer online games is because of you, Kyle, and Hector, and my other friends. Because sometimes, a lot of the majority of the time these days, that's the only way I can be social. Number one, and number two, it's the only way I can interact with some of you guys. And since you are family, I love you guys, like legit.
Aww,
I play multiplayer. I do. I seriously do. So I play games that I do not legitimately enjoy because I enjoy playing games with you guys. And that gives me enjoyment into the games. But outside of that, I think gaming and any hobbies and things like that are fairly simple when it comes to how people enjoy it. You're not going to do something that you don't gain some sort of pleasure from. So I gain escapism. I get to go and live somebody else's life, or a life that I've wanted to live, but I can't because this is reality and there is no magical fun shit. In reality, we don't have giant mechs or magic spells. We don't have super psionics and superheroes or any of the other shit that I wanted when I was fucking a kid. So
not yet.
This is yet.
Not yet.
My dude, when I was in kindergarten, they passed around the form like, what do you want to be when you grow up? And everybody's answer is a firefighter or a doctor or an astronaut. That was a big one, right? And I was like, Batman. Like, that was my first response. And then she's like, are you sure? I'm like, oh wait. And I took it back and I was like, and I wrote, or Dracula. So my 2 dream careers when I was in kindergarten was a superhero or a vampire. That was what I came up with. And when my teacher was like, these aren't exactly careers. And I gave her, and I guess, I don't know, I just stared at her and she's like, okay. And that's the only thing I remember about her. It was that interaction almost.
Called security and they dragged you to solitary confinement.
Yeah, put me in the funny farm. Entertainment has always been an avenue into the imagination, an avenue into what could be but isn't. So most of what I enjoy is very fictional. I don't do a lot of. I think I've read one nonfiction book my entire life, unless you count the Bible, which, depending on who you talk to, is either fiction or nonfiction. I read Midnight in the Garden of Good and Evil. I think it was the one that takes place in Savannah, and that was the only nonfiction book I've ever read, and that is a dramatized account because they don't know everything that happened. So, I mean, you could almost consider it fiction, even though it's based off of actual facts. I don't do reality. I don't like reality. I'm not good at adulting. I'm not good at fucking real shit. I mean, I can do what I need to do, and I've been fairly successful at it at times, but it's definitely not my preferred mode of existence. So this is, where I can go and let my imagination and my heart go off and pretend for a while and get re-energized, or it's a way for me to hang out with my friends.
Yeah.
I'm done.
Okay. I have a couple reasons that I partake in entertainment, and I think one of the bigger ones would also be, it's interesting because the escape itself, I don't see it as a benefit to me as a person, but I like the escape because I'm thinking of it more in the fact of I like kind of consuming what someone or a group of people have set out to do, right? So say if I sit down and play Celeste, right? I know however many people sat down and they intended an emotion, they intended a reason behind everything in this game. And the action of sitting down, understanding, and making that connection with that creator between me and them, or me and the art, and then them and the art and stuff like that, and having that either intended or non-intended reaction, and that whole, I think the proper word's dichotomy. I don't know if it is. It sounds smart, so I'm going to use it. But that whole
dichotomy is two things existing at once that are opposites.
It's not the right word. Fuck
like
it. It sounds smart.
Loving and hating something.
Okay.
Well,
those relationships
dichotomy.
And how they bud between the creator and the art and the consumer, I never really understood that was the reason behind why I enjoyed media so much. I just kind of know it existed deep down. And I was that's one of the reasons I like animation so much. When I sit down and see a scene of animation and I realize that there's someone behind this, and seeing their intention behind I can't see exactly every frame, but the frames that they have set before me, and having that emotion that they wanted it to elicit, that feeling gives me almost like butterflies in my stomach. And then on top of the fact, if you have a good story on top of that has been lovingly crafted by someone else to elicit emotions in you, something about that whole system really just speaks to me. And that's why I really like either things that you can sit down and say there's a lot of passion put into this, or which, I mean, it seems very biased because you can't really say that about everything, because I can't talk to the person that made this and see that. Sometimes you can see there's telltale signs in the work itself, but I can't play Far Cry 5 and say that someone loved or didn't love making this, because I don't know their situation. But that whole relationship exists completely different between the relationship I have with the game. But we've talked about this before, and Shawn's put it into words before as well. But I like that system, and something about that makes me happy when I'm basically eliciting, or something's eliciting the emotion in me that was intended by the creator. I think that's really cool. And it's weird because I don't exactly know how to put it entirely into words, and I hope this is making sense in one way or another. And on top of that, I do again, I don't see the escape as something that is benefiting me, but I think I don't know how to say this. I think it's cool to unravel a world, kind of, right? Again, leading to, so you have something that is being presented to you that exists within itself, and then it's your job to look at it and take the information that was presented to you and create your own answers. And then, again, one thing that's interesting with when we consume media, how we were saying there's an intended response and sometimes a not intended response that you get. So when some people get anger from seeing a woman's nipple in something, that may not always necessarily be the intended response. It may be an intended response. Sometimes people put nipples in stuff because it makes other people that don't like seeing nipples mad, and that's okay. That's an intended response. But I just like sitting down and being able to undevelop a world and learn more about something that someone has sat down and crafted. I don't know. It's weird. It's really fucking weird. And I can't really fully express it because it's something that always sits in the back of my head when I try to tell it to someone. And I can only get words out every once in a while. That's why I'm just stumbling over myself back and forth.
I think it makes sense, man. You're talking about it like you view, well, I mean, not entirely, because there's, I mean, a little bit for everybody, but it sounds like you just view it more. You take a certain aesthetic pleasure from it, like you would reading a really well-written book or seeing a beautiful painting and noticing the strokes and the lines and how they lovingly crafted the little girl holding the flower basket or whatever the fuck it is. You're just talking about it from like a more of a connoisseur perspective, enjoying the different flavor textures of the wine or the coffee or the beer or whatever the fuck it is that you're drinking.
Yeah, I think this doesn't solely persist to video games in my life because I've had the same.
Of course not.
I've had the same expressions from books. I've had the same expressions from anime. I've had the same expressions from movies. They come and go as they do. And one thing I used to have a really big problem with, and like legitimately, I used to have a huge issue with this, is when I first got back into anime. This weird thought popped into my head because I didn't watch it my whole life. I watched it when I was young. I did the Dragon Balls and the Yu-Gi-Ohs and the Pokemans and stuff like that. And then I got back into it. And I think one of the first shows I watched when I got back into it was The World God Only Knows. When I first found out Crunchyroll was a thing, and I remember watching that like either my last year of middle school or my first year of high school, and really enjoying that. I liked the story, I liked the show, I liked the world that they built, although it was a little silly at times. And when it was over, right? And you get that kind of catharsis, that emptiness, and you need to fill it with something. One thing that was a fear that loomed was, what if there's something I'm missing, right? Like, what if the best story to ever exist, in my opinion, I haven't seen yet and I won't ever see? Right now, as I've grown, I've just become accustomed to understanding that either it's never going to happen and I just have to deal with it, which is fine, or I've already experienced that, or I'm going to, right? But there's no way of telling what's going to happen tomorrow, what's going to happen in the next week. And because of that connection I had with just understanding someone else's creation and learning to love that, when I get to the point where, what if there's something I've missed, I kind of hit like a mode of paranoia, right? Like, because there's no way in hell I could consume every form of media. And I never got like straight up like crazy where I'd have shutdowns or anything like that. But it was always a fear that loomed. And then just as I grew, I just understood the fact that piece of information, worrying about it would do me no good whatsoever. It would not help me because it's something that exists outside of the realms of like possibility for me, right? And just coming to, as we all age, we come to understand things. Coming to that understanding really helped me a lot because now it's just I move from one to another.
I don't understand shit.
Understanding that and moving from thing to thing now, and then just going with the flow, kind of Because it would happen with anything. What if there's the best song in the world to me and I haven't heard it yet? And it would happen with everything, books, movies, stuff like that. And I got to a point where I just had to accept it. That maybe it is out there and I will never experience it. But hey, life's still pretty good. There's no reason to worry about this kind of stuff. And I grew out of that period. But definitely early high school, on top of everything else that we have fucking fears about, that was one that loomed always in the back of my head that I had to deal with. But so I think that's kind of how that was created because of the way I view media and entertainment and stuff like that. And I think that was definitely one of those big moments of my childhood life, because everything's big when you're younger. Anything can be a mountain. That mountain was successfully gotten over, and I'm happy that I'm over it and I don't have to deal with that fear anymore. But that was definitely something that loomed, and I think that came to be because of the way I view entertainment. So I always thought that was interesting, and I just wanted to kind of share that with you guys. But that's kind of how I view entertainment. I love sitting down and working through my own understanding of unraveling someone else's creation and finding those little details that they've put in and things that they had intended for you to find, but not intended for everybody to find. I just love that system, and just it's cool. I think it's really fucking cool, and I think that's why I've made video games and other media such a huge part of my life. Is because of those reasons, and I find that relationship so special. I think it's really cool. So yeah, I would have to say that's about my answer. So before we're going to continue, move on to Caitlyn. She's going to give her answer, what she thinks about this. What do you think, Caitlyn?
So I feel like it's not a way to relax, because I just started watching How to Get Away with Murder, and every single time I watch that show, I am screaming at the screen. I'm like, you're so stupid. I'm like, what is going on? Like, I am freaking out. So I don't think it's like a way to relax, because I'm always like really excited when I watch it, because I just love it. I like watching shows and like TV and stuff. So I feel like it gets me really excited. Like, you know what I mean? I don't feel very relaxed when I do it. But I do feel like it's a way to like escape. Like, I do definitely forget that I have 3 finals to take this week when I'm watching it. So I'm always just like, oh yeah, this is awesome. And I stop watching it and I'm like, oh, I'm so screwed. But it's more of a way for me to like escape, stop thinking about what's stressing me out, and just kind of sit down and just not have to think about like how crippling life could be at that moment. So that's my view of entertainment. I feel like entertainment shouldn't be very much abused, where you think like you escape from reality too much, but it definitely like that's what it does for me, at least. Okay,
cool. All right, so that was question number 1. Holy shit, that took like 32 minutes. Might be here a little bit. So next we have Shawn's question. This one's a little bit more fun. What's your question, Shawn? Explain to everybody else. The only thing I have written here is co-host, so you need to explain it to me.
What are your thoughts, feelings, and opinions on your co-hosts? What attracts you to them as people, or why did you become friends with them, or your general concepts of them? I love this person; he's like a brother to me, or this guy's cool but a little annoying, or I like his penis. Whatever really fucking works for you. But what are your thoughts on your co-host? Dead serious. Like, do you see this person as friends for life? Are you business partners? Are you, obviously you and Caitlyn are siblings, so that part's kind of self-explanatory. But what are your thoughts on your various co-hosts and your feelings and what you think is interesting about that person, or what they bring to the table, and et cetera, et cetera?
Okay, and I want to add on real quick. This applies to everyone that we've hosted with. So if you have something to say about Antony, or like Jonathan, or anything about that, I know everyone tuning in that we don't really always have a stable like amount. Although recently we've had pretty much at least 3 on every week. I try to, but we've had a shitload of hosts over this entire course. So we're gonna talk just whatever pops into your head. We're gonna refer to. And so since how I was doing it before, Shawn, since you asked the question, I'm going to have you answer it first. Give us an idea what you think the answer is going to be like. So,
Let's see, with Jonathan. Jonathan likes to shake things up. I mean, he's quiet for a while, and then he comes off with like a razor one-liner. It's just really fucking sharp that cracks everyone up and lightens the mood big time. And occasionally, out of nowhere, he'll come out with like these deep introspective moments where he'll just notice something about something that somebody else hasn't picked up on. I think as much as he might argue the fact, I think he spends as much of the time when he's quiet, it's not just doing other things or, fucking off or whatever, like what I do when I'm quiet. I think sometimes he's actually listening, but when Jonathan speaks, it's normally because he has something to say, and it's either super witty or it's intelligent. And I think that he is always a super good thing to have in any conversation. He's always a good person to have there, and I definitely consider Jonathan a friend. I wish we got to spend more time with him so I would get to know him better, but the time that I have spent with him I treasure. With Tyler, I love Tyler to death. At first I thought that I annoyed him until I realized that we have a similar sense of humor, so we're going to sound snarky even when we're not. And Tyler's fucking awesome. I think Tyler's always a good addition, and Tyler likes to shake things up in a different way. Tyler has interesting opinions on a lot of things, and he comes at them from perspectives that I wouldn't ordinarily expect. With Antony or with Kyle, like I can usually guess where they're going to come from, and I already have an understanding of where they're coming from before they say anything, because we understand each other that way. But with Tyler, when Tyler adds something, it's usually something I'm not expecting, or he appreciates, like when we were talking about our favorite games and why we love them, the response that I would expect to hear from somebody as to why they appreciate such and such a game is not the response that you get from him. He oftentimes will appreciate something for like a more esoteric reason or a deeper reason, or he might come at it from a direction I wouldn't even expect. Like appreciating, I'm just making this up, but he said something before that just kind of spun me for a circle that I wasn't expecting. And it would be like somebody saying, like, I appreciate how they've subtly put in platforming mechanics into a Resident Evil game, which obviously hasn't happened, but if they had somehow subtly put that into a 3D Resident Evil game, and I didn't notice it because it's fucking Resident Evil and I'm usually just busy panicking and watching my ammo, that would be an interesting take. And Tyler oftentimes has a very fresh take, because I think it's because when even though he's a gamer, he doesn't talk like one.
No, he doesn't.
He doesn't consume games like your stereotypical gamer. So his perspectives come across very refreshing, and I really like that. And I think Tyler's fucking awesome. Antony is my brosef. I love Antony. If I was gay, we'd be married right now. We have a 3-way with Kyle.
Hey,
Antony
sign me up, dude.
Yeah, dude. Antony is a constant source of levity. Antony takes any shitty situation and makes it happy somehow. He brings so much positive energy to the table, even when he's having a bad day, and he does it in a way that isn't like My Little Pony disgusting. And it blows my mind. And Antony's had to deal with some really heavy shit, and he still comes out of it like, fuck it, whatever. It's going to be fucking rainbows and roses anyway because I like titties. It's just, I love that about Antony. Antony will take any mood, any situation, and make it better just by being there, just by being himself. He is this positive ray in all of the right ways. And he's just the best kind of energy to have around. And we are sorely lacking anytime we don't have him on the show. Like anytime he's not there, he's not hanging out. He's another, like all of these people I've mentioned so far, I definitely consider friends. Antony, I've spent a good amount of time bonding with, and I really, really appreciate Antony as a genuine friend as well. Who am I missing? Out of the original group, there was Antony, Jonathan, you, me, Tyler, before we started expanding. That's pretty much it, right?
Yeah, that's it.
No, it's for Caitlyn. Caitlyn's my boo. Unfortunately, I am a sexual predator, so our future is in question.
I can't get over that.
Wow.
Yeah.
Mama Patrol.
For those of you that don't know, Mama Dukes, Kyle's mom, got the impression that I was predating on Caitlyn's virtue. Now, I admire Caitlyn greatly, and I think she is a beautiful woman and an awesome person, and has a fantastical sense of humor that chimes perfectly in with my own. And I have a great deal of admiration for her. But at no point in time was I plotting to separate her from her panties. However,
Oh my god.
I think Caitlyn's a rad chick, and I always like having her around, and I do have a
Aw.
great deal of affection for her.
Thanks.
And Caitlyn is my homie, and she's my boo.
Yeah, we're booze and homies,
and-
guys.
Boos and homies. We got that's a dichotomy.
Yeah.
Boomies. One would
Kyle,
say.
without question, immediately accepted me. Didn't bat an eye at my eccentricities, and forcefully injected me into the group without anybody else expecting it. And the first people to immediately adapt to me were Kyle and Antony. And Antony didn't even bat an eye. He's like, "Boop, you're one of us." And Kyle was like, "This guy's one of us, whether you guys like it or not." And everybody else just followed right along with suit. But Kyle's been he puts the most energy into getting everyone together. He puts the most energy into the podcast. I do what I can, but there is some limitations being 2 hours away, and technologically challenged at the moment. Not having a fucking computer. I have a half of a baked potato computer.
Not even a full baked potato. Damn.
Yeah.
It's a mouse
yeah.
running on a hamster wheel without any legs. It's kind of
Kyle and I
trying.
see a lot of things eye to eye. And when we don't see things eye to eye, we appreciate how we see things differently. I mean, we've had, I think, maybe 4 disagreements where our voices even went up in pitch. And I mean, at that, and they might have lasted 5 seconds. And he's quick to be understanding of difference. And Kyle has put a great deal of effort into this friendship, and I appreciate that very much. And Kyle is a close friend. And Sam shares my passion for being verbose. He is. What's the best way I can? Where I want to come up.
Pull up
with
the SAT words, dude. Pull up the SAT
I'm
words.
thinking he is the. Hold on, I had it. He's the Curious George to my Cat in the Hat.
Aw.
You know, that was probably the best way to put it. Sam is a goofball. He brings positive energy at all times. You know, he's doing his Care Bear stare whenever he possibly can, and he never brings anything down. And considering I am a person that is always down, that is something that I find to be invaluable, and I find Sam's presence to be a blessing at all times. Even if he's reading off all 16 chapters to the book that he has in his head. I am also guilty of, so that is by no means a criticism. I think that's everybody. Oh, and Mama Dukes is rad. I'm not a child molester.
Let's hope she listens to this episode.
All right. Next, we're gonna shake up the order. I don't think we're gonna keep them all in the same order every time. So we got people talking out of order. It's nice. How about you, Caitlyn? What do you think?
All right.
For the people that come to your mind that you have spent time with, which is pretty much everybody. At this point,
yeah.
I guess, yeah.
Well, like Antony, like Tyler and Jonathan, I've known like for like 10 years now. Like I've known him as long as Kyle's known him. So I mean, Antony is definitely like family at this point, like legitimate family. He's been with us on a few family vacations even. So I mean, Antony's pretty cool. We're pretty close buds. Tyler, I always miss Tyler, that piece of shit. He had to move away. I miss him like crazy. Like, dude, I miss being around him. Like, we had a lot of good times together with Tyler. Jonathan is the same. I don't see him as much anymore. Both of us don't. But I mean, they're pretty cool guys. I love spending time with them. They're all really awesome, and they're all basically family. As for son of a bitch, like people on the podcast that I like met recently, like Shawn's definitely taught me to think more about like what I say on this podcast. Like he's like, no spoilers, Caitlyn, come on, no spoilers. Like I don't know, I think Shawn just speaks so eloquently that I try and take notes because I'm just like so baffled by how eloquently you speak your thoughts. So because I suck at it, you know, I'm more of a writer than I am a talker. So I'm very jealous of that. But yeah, I mean, we're booze, so I mean, you gotta teach me some things sometime.
Oh yeah.
Yeah.
Ditto.
And for Sam, I love your accent, dude. Like,
Aw.
I still cannot get over your accent. Like, every time I hear it, I'm just like, I'm like, yes. Like, I mean, I wish I had an accent. Like, I should go to Georgia and pick up an accent.
That's how it works.
He lives in Georgia, right?
No,
You visit,
Shit.
automatically get it.
Wait, where do you live?
North Carolina.
Shit. I mean, wow.
Hey,
I
it's still close to the
totally
Bible Belt,
folded there. I folded, but yeah. I mean, who else? Was that it, right? That was
Yeah,
it.
me, bitch.
Oh, obviously, my brother. I mean, you guys don't see us on like a day-to-day basis, but you guys should sit and like for some of our conversations because my brother and I, we've always been like super close.
Caitlyn is female Kyle, pretty much, and I am
base-
female Caitlyn.
Basically,
That's
like
what
after all these years that we've known each other, we've kind of
We were probably really close. I don't know how this works, but we were probably really close in like the millions of sperm that were made in my dad's nutsack. We were probably always like chilling out right next to each other, right? Getting litty and
Yeah.
nutsack.
We were buddies in the
Fucking sperm
we were
break
buddies
room,
from the
fucking
beginning.
playing Parcheesi.
Yeah,
but
and it's just been like that
I don't
ever
even
since.
know
Ever
what
since.
Parcheesi is.
yeah. Well, anyways,
God.
ever since like my brother and I have been born, dude, we've been best friends. It never stops. Sometimes I come home from work and I'm just like so happy to see him because like, dude, we don't. I mean, since we started working and stuff, like I still don't think we get to see each other enough. Oh, but like definitely we're best friends. So my brother, dude, I always fuck with you, bro. I always fuck with you. So yeah, that's everybody.
All right.
That's our Thought Patrol family.
Yeah, that's not the name of this episode.
And we are a family.
Yeah,
Damn right we are.
We live together. We die together.
We don't really.
Hopefully that doesn't ever come to be. But hey,
We don't.
I'm hoping about the dying part. I'm not overly fond of. But
The
I would like
opposite.
to avoid that part if possible. But I mean, if it comes up, let's do this.
all right, Sam, it's your turn.
Let's see. I guess I'll start with Shawn. What I like about him is that he's very passionate about many things, and you can definitely tell he's a pretty smart guy. The way he eloquently talks and about certain things, he really gets into the meat and potatoes of whatever he's talking about, games, shows, and it's very he puts a lot of thought into it. I think when he says something, and that's what I really enjoy about it. But also too, he's got that nice, humor, that's really, be a little cringy at sometimes. But hey,
He went there.
no,
He went there.
it's no, but no,
Those
that's
fighting
what's so
words.
charming about him is that it's like it's all humor is subjective, and I like all types of humor, and his is just is good. It's that nice touch of cringe, but overall really funny guy. So I really enjoy his humor and his intellect. In my opinion, I think it's a great combination. Let's see. I think I've done. Let's see. I think I've done with Jonathan. Jonathan is a really cool guy. Trying to remember. It's been so long.
Tell you the truth, yo, dude, you're like the newest member to our family, so I really honestly don't expect you to you don't have to bullshit anything for people that you really don't know too well. That's completely fine.
Right.
So
No. But the one time I did do the thing with Jonathan, he was really cool, really nice guy. I felt like, man, he was very straight to the point and everything, so really cool. Let's see, and then Caitlyn, man, she's really awesome. She's like, just really she's so like happy and just like really passionate, and you definitely don't want to piss her off though, because she tells you straight up if you piss her off,
You're right.
which is great. Just really cool, really fun to like be able to talk to and stuff, and like it's a great compliment to you, Kyle. I would have to say. And then I guess I'll just go Kyle. So I've been very fortunate to have found, maybe we haven't really met in person, but found somebody who really enjoys the things that my other friends don't enjoy or don't like or don't know about.
Damn
And
straight.
it's really nice to know somebody that you have talked to with and have enjoyed conversations, and to be able to be on a show, even though it's a little show that may not go anywhere or may not even hit the mainstream. I still think
Wow.
it was just so awesome.
That
And
hurt.
I mean
Listen
that I mean that realistic. I mean look. Sorry.
That hurt. That hurt my soul.
Sorry. Let me see. I mean, it's been great to be on a show that'll definitely, hit the top of the charts.
There we
really
go.
soon.
I like that.
Like we're gonna
better.
hit a
We're
million
gonna have our
subscribers.
faces on post boards.
Pretty much. No, I know. No, I've been very fortunate to even be part of a creative medium or media, pretty much, and to just say, hey, I really just asked him, hey, do you mind if I come on an episode? He said, yeah, sure, I don't care, and that's just really cool. That's just was really awesome that I got to do that, and and you never know, maybe one day we'll meet, whatever. But man, it's just been really cool to have him as a friend and to just enjoy his taste, and he's really introduced me a lot of stuff, a lot of really cool stuff, and I think that's just awesome. And he's just a really really great guy who I think genuinely likes the people he's friends with. You can definitely tell that in the way he jokes around with them and stuff, and he's really funny too. You're really legit funny, and that's really hard to come
You
by
don't gotta
because a lot
lie.
of people.
You don't gotta lie.
No, it's really rare to come up people who are funny and who are not fake. Because there's a lot of people who I think try too hard when it comes to being funny, and it just seems like come to you naturally. So yeah, I everybody I've met on here has been really awesome, and just really cool to hear what they have to say and different perspectives and stuff. So I've just really enjoyed it. I'm really lucky to have found this show and to even considered a part of it. So
Oh, my heart.
It swells. It's swelling right now.
It's
Yeah.
I thought you said it smells.
No.
I'm like, what the
Yeah,
fuck?
my heart smells like.
if you
Sounds
can
like
smell your heart,
shit.
you need to go to the doctor.
Yeah, dude. Probably need to go see
Yeah, I
someone for
gotta go to the emergency room, guys. I'll be right back.
that. All right. I'm thinking how I want to go about this. I guess I'll start with our people I've actually been able to touch with my hands.
That was a very weird way. What kind of touching you been doing?
All of the touching.
Oh my God.
So I guess I'm gonna start with Antony first. I love Antony. I love all of you guys. I'm just gonna say, if when I meet Shawn, and if I ever meet you too, Sam, you go both get a big ass bear hug. First come, first serve. Wait, that doesn't make any sense. First,
Alright.
whatever. You all get a big ass bear hug, and I love you guys. But one thing that I don't know if it's a good or bad thing, because it could always come back on me. But when you were speaking earlier about the fact that I kind of basically forced you into our circle of people that we play with, I think it's just weird. It sounds so egotistical, braggy. This is a circle jerk episode, but I'm trying to think of how I want to put this where it doesn't sound stupid. But I quickly make friends with people, right? Like I could talk to you for 30 seconds, hit it off, and I'll consider you a friend, right? Not an acquaintance. I think acquaintances are dumb. If I've talked to you and I like your personality as a person, I'll consider you a friend. And then if you ever wrong me, you get demoted, basically. You go down to someone that either I don't like or you're not a friend, whatever. But I quickly make friends because I love when we all can get together, sit down, and like what we were doing yesterday. We were playing that space team game, and we were literally just sitting here all on our phones yelling commands at each other. That I found that so much fun because, again, we were all together. We were, and I like incorporating as many people as we can into games. That's why I'm so sad when things like Destiny, you can only play with 3 fucking people. And then we have to split the team in 2 and all this other stupid shit. And we all can't really play together and make those memories. And that annoys me. So I really like I pushed you into the circle so hard again because I enjoyed being around you. I like how we started talking about Antony and I've just jumped all over the place. But that's kind of the idea there. But back to Antony. I love this man with a passion. And I agree with you, Shawn, 100%. He is like a moving ball of joy and happiness that just rolls around and makes everything better.
Yes.
Like flowers
So
follow
much.
in his wake and shit like that. And I just appreciate having him by. And I wish that we could have him by more often. And I know as everyone grows, you get work and all this other shit, and everyone kind of goes about their own thing, trying to better themselves and make something of themselves. I understand that. And one of the reasons I started the podcast, on top of the fact that of just getting ourselves a digital footprint, even as never does go anywhere, as we've been cursed by Sam.
Definitely.
Wow.
Just now we were cursed.
That's gonna last a while, man.
just
It's
the
gonna be
fact-
remembered.
Yeah, just the fact that we've created a reason for us all to talk every week. I think that's so important. And if we ever develop a following of people around this circle that want to talk with us as well, then so be it. If it never goes anywhere, it doesn't. We have somewhere to sit on our old rocking chairs being kept alive by the heart replacer 9000 or whatever in the late 2000s. We can tune back to this podcast and kind of, because it's on the internet, it will be there forever as long as I'm paying for the Audioboom subscription. And then we can always go back and relive these moments of our lives. And I think that's a really cool thing. And man, I'm just all over the place. So yeah, I fucking love Antony. I love having him around. I love him being with us. Like when he came on the live stream yesterday, he added so much more because we had something we can both bounce off of. Like when I don't remember exactly when or what class, but when I first saw Antony, you can just tell the way he carries himself, his disposition, that he is that type of person. He's a goofball in the best way possible.
for
He's a
real.
goofball. And I love having him around because, again, as you said, he brings so much to the table in the form of just comedy, expression, enjoyment. Just being around him is fun. And he's going to go far with that because he's going to make a lot of friends in his life that will be genuine because they want to be around him for him and not who he pretends to be, whatever he does in his future life. But I love Antony for that reason, and I just think he's an awesome person. He's very nice, caring, and sweet. On top of the fact, he all around package. You girls out there, Antony Galvez, everybody.
Anthony Galvez.
Antony
right there.
Galvez.
Yeah, for real.
Yeah. So, Jonathan. I also want to with Jonathan. I love Jonathan as well, and I like Jonathan because I feel when I am with him, I feel like I'm with someone. He also has a lot of, I think composure is the right word. The way he carries himself as well, he has that certain thing about him where he feels like he's like almost a natural born leader. Like you can see him going somewhere in that field, the way he carries himself and the way he acts, that he can handle that type of position. And I think that kind of levitated me to him with that because, and on top of the fact, he is funny as shit. And I agree a lot of the time when he has that thing where he'll sit there dead ass quiet. He'll analyze the situation. He'll make the best fucking joke he can for that moment, and he'll drop it when you least expect it. And I think he's probably, it almost feels like he's gone to college to study how to drop bomb one-liners. And then he has mastered that practice to be put into the field. And I like that about him. I think one element that we hid, although I don't see it as a negative, but I like how passionate, I'm going to use the word passionate, but how passionate he gets when he plays games. So I love, like, he's like the best couch gamer because he gets to that point. Like, you're playing Dark Souls with him, he dies for the 30th time, the same boss, that controller will no longer be in his hands. And I love that about him.
His rage is an art form.
Yes, and in his rage, he takes all of the knowledge he has compelled from his joke college, and he drops his amassed. He drops all the one-liners he can possibly think of in that moment, and it's just a burst of passion and joy and it's just so much fun to watch him do his thing. And that is a complete positive, and he's such a fun person to play games with and hang out with, and I appreciate that about him as well. For Tyler, I enjoy, as you were saying, the way I didn't understand exactly why, but the way you put that makes 100% sense to me. You get such a fresh point of view from the way Tyler is and the type of person that he is and the way he looks at things. It's nice just sitting there and hearing to him speak and talk and hearing his opinion on things. A big thing that I have when it comes to entertainment as well is hearing everyone's opinion. I like, another reason why we made a podcast is sitting down and just hearing from you guys and talking to you all and understanding how you took something and created your thoughts on it. It's just such a cool way of just hearing the way you guys express yourselves. I love that, and it's so awesome, and that's one of the reasons why I'm so happy we decided to do a podcast. Even if it doesn't get us anywhere, I think these moments that we've shared doing this podcast together will be stuff we won't forget for a long time, especially some of the funnier episodes of the times that we've had a blast just talking to each other. And I love that, and that discussion that comes about even with the community as well, chipping in with what they do either in Discord or on YouTube and stuff like that. That is such an awesome feeling to be able to just talk with you all and kind of learn how you guys are and stuff like that. It's so cool. So I love hearing that from Tyler. I think he's the most expressive of our smaller circle about that stuff. Like Antony, he'll do his thing and be his ball of joy, but sometimes it takes a little bit more digging to get to the deeper things coming from him, and that's not a negative. I don't want that to be expressed as one, but I think with Tyler, a lot of that stuff will come up early. Like you'll just be talking to him, and he'll drop this dank philosophical bomb on you about why there's platforming in Resident Evil, like Shawn said, or whatever the fuck it was earlier. And I like that, and I like seeing that different opinion that he expresses and stuff like that. I think it's really cool. So I do agree with you 100% on that, Shawn. Man, this episode is going to be a long one, fellas. Still got 2 more questions. What was I going to say?
And lady, you misogynist.
Yeah.
Wow.
I'm sorry. Call the SJWs.
Oh.
So we got Antony, Jonathan, Tyler. So I'm
Sorry
gonna go.
to everyone with purple hair.
I'm gonna go with you, Caitlyn.
That's right. Mm-hmm.
Now you did a good job of explaining. I like that we are so closely aligned with our likes. It is fucking ridiculous. That's why I'm saying our sperms are from the same pool.
Had to have been
1,000%. We like the same music. We like the same anime for the most part. We like the same games. Just everything. We've shared so many experiences with each other and have enjoyed both of them so thoroughly. It's just a blast because it's almost like you're looking in a mirror and talking to someone that is exactly like you. And having someone like that in your life, I think, is so like reinforcing. And although I guess you could see it as a bad thing because you could reinforce negative things as well as you can reinforce positive things, but I take it much more as a positive of having someone that you can sit down and talk with either about a thought that you've had or something that's either deeper or something lighter or how that episode was or how this game made you feel or something like that. And having someone like that, like right next to you 100% of the time is such an awesome feeling and such a cool partner to have throughout your life. It's a fantastic thing that I wish everyone had, but it's not always possible. That's why I always feel bad for people that are solo children, because you got to kind of, I mean, your parents are there and you have friends, but you never have someone with you in those troubling times, because there's not always someone that can understand exactly what you're going through at that time. But if you have a sibling right next to you that can help push you through that, I think that's less life-changing. And I appreciate that you have been that rock for me, Caitlyn, in those times and in that stuff like that. It's been it's been a wild ride, and I'm excited to see it continue, especially as we get older and start to
litter.
We
can get lit together.
Oh, litter.
The day I turned
I thought you
21.
meant like litter, like throw garbage on the floor. Like don't openly admit to that on the podcast. Come on now.
Oh man.
So and eventually we will separate. It's going to happen eventually, especially as you get close to getting married and stuff like that. And then when I move into my apartment with my 40 cats.
Oh man.
Yeah, and Shawn will be one of the cats because Shawn's kinky like that.
Yeah.
He'll be the mother cat. They'll drink from his teats.
Oh God.
Oh my lord.
The images I just got of myself alone.
It's something that saddens me, but it also excites me to see that as we fully develop into adults. I guess it depends on who you ask, but it's awesome to continue. I'm excited to continue this life with you, and I'm excited for all the times that we have already had. So that's definitely something there. I'm gonna go for you next, Sam. Sam, man, you give me that penis, dude. I want that dick. Make him mildly uncomfortable. I'm not gonna lie, Sam. We give you shit all the time for your verbiage and stuff, but like that. But I love the fact that, on top of the fact that, dude, you're like MVP when it comes to just the content that we've produced here with your questions and all that, and you give us stuff to gnaw on, and I appreciate that. And it's almost like this big moral support that has sat behind us. And I love that fact about you, and even for something that apparently you don't think's going anywhere.
I'm still not over it.
The fact that you have been that one of those like pillars of strength that have been behind us this entire time and helping us out. And I love every second of it. I love having you on because I love the take that you bring as well. I love that with your, I'm not gonna lie, again, we give you shit for the verbiage all the time, but with the verbiage, you always bring about a point. I like that when you look at everything, you're looking for a point and a message that we can take from that. And I really appreciate that because I think that helps so much for when you're having discussion or talking to anybody, which is what we all should be doing. Being able to pull a message from that overall discussion is so important. And the fact that you bring that to the table and that is your forefront with your the way you speak and everything about it, and always looking for that message is so strong, and it's such a good quality for someone to harbor. I really appreciate that. And that's why I love having you on with us all the time. And just again, I also agree with Shawn that again, a ball of joy and levity, and just that is such a strong trait to have and such a powerful thing to bring to the table. You could wow so many people with just the fact that they see you've had either a shitty day or it's been something like that, but you are still the same powerful, passionate person that you are, and that strength is so it's such a good character to have in a person. And again, I haven't actually hung out with you in person, but I think over the talks that we've had over the internet, I haven't with Shawn either, but over the talks that we've had and the time that we spent together, I'm just so excited that you even reached out to us in the first part and asked to be on. Like when you first asked me that over Discord, I'm like, fuck yeah. Like I'm pretty sure I audibly said that out loud. I was like, fuck yeah. We'll have Sam on the podcast. I'd love to do that. And so that fresh take and that hunt for that message is so strong to me, and I love having that in in our ecosystem that is the podcast. I think it's so powerful, and I just love talking with you about deep things, man. I love the places we go and the shit that we get into and we talk about stuff like that. So I think you're such a powerful asset to this podcast and just in our lives, that's why I love to have you on and stuff like that. So definitely strong, and I appreciate everything that you've done for us here. And we're gonna move on to Shawn, my bae too.
Hey,
Well, get the Kleenexes out.
Who's mine
Get the
first?
Kleenexes out. Well, Shawn, first thing I'm gonna tell you, dude, you're a analytical, cynical asshole, but I love that shit about you. Now, I think a lot of the time when you come to discussion amongst friends, a lot of the time you'll see people, when something cool is going on or something awesome and hype is happening, everyone's kind of just agreeing with each other, right? If you're in a group of like-minded individuals, everyone's just kind of hanging out, chilling, and agreeing with each other. And I think when people sit down and do that, you never get to a point, right? If everyone just agrees with each other, how are we supposed to learn, like how Sam always hunts for? How are we supposed to learn from our discussion, right? we can't just all sit here and say this thing was awesome. And I love that analytical side for when we get in discussion. I especially, again, it's only going to happen once, but from someone that's older and seeing from someone that has lived their life, or not entirely, but has lived a portion of their life and has been in portions of their life that I haven't gotten to yet, and hearing from a technically a wiser point of view, and seeing that, and then also having your likes align close to mine as well. I think that's so cool to see. If I sit down and say something and I think, wow, this game's awesome, this is perfect, and you come by as like, here's why you're wrong, and here's 15 reasons why you're wrong. I think that's cool because that challenges what I had previously thought. And I think that's a really good person to have aligned with you as you move through life, because those extra points of view, it's always good to have a broader point of view. And I think that's so good for every aspect of your life, because the more side angles you're looking at something from, the more you'll know about something in general. And the fact that you work to bring those different angles and something that might not necessarily have been previously thought of, like, to the discussion and to the hangouts and stuff like that, and get us to think that, hey, maybe this game or this media or this in general was just not that good. It kind of gives everyone that little bit, that analytical eye will start to grow slightly here and there, now and then. And one thing I do have to say is, I started with the jokes and cynical, analytical asshole, blah, blah, blah. But I think a lot of that, I don't think of that as negative whatsoever, because I think from every time I've heard you speak about anything, all your points, comments, everything you make is in love for what you're speaking of. And I think that's so powerful that you can sit down and bash something out of love. Not everyone has the power or strength to do something like that on a constant basis. And I really just appreciate having that around, because again, it prevents everyone from just agreeing with each other. Now, we've had our discussions, our disagreements and stuff like that. Yeah, it happens. We don't always see eye to eye, but we do quite a bit. And I always think it's nice to sit there and talk about something and have you bring up a point that maybe I didn't see that first time, especially in something that's a longer experience like a video game. You sit down and play something for 40 hours, there's always something you might forget. I sometimes think you're an elephant because you'll bring up a fucking detail that happened in the 30-second mark of the game, where a butterfly had done a backflip 360 aerial no scope across someone across the map that I didn't pick up, and how that shows the true nature of nature and the cruelty of animals and predatorial discussion. I don't fucking know. I'm thinking of something, but that, I always love that, because that challenges everyone in the discussion, everyone in the talk, to sit down and look at stuff harder when they sit down. Because again, I've always had that fear that I spoke of earlier, where maybe there's something I'm missing. And I think sitting down and looking at those smaller details and seeing those things, especially in media, is super powerful, because not everyone has the strength to constantly do that. A lot of people like to sit down and just completely turn off their mind, veg out, and then you're good to go, you're done. But being able to sit there and fully analyze something and keep that information fresh enough to present back in discussion, I think is such a cool trait that I don't really have anyone else in my life that's like that. So having that there is definitely a vital component. And I think it's really cool. So, whew, man, talking so much.
Oh, shucks.
I want to suck your penis. That's about it. So I'll probably think of shit about everyone later that will annoy me that I didn't say it on the podcast. But this is very last minute. So this is just our true hearts. We didn't really have time to think about all this. So I think that adds an interesting layer of natural to the podcast, I guess. Because I kind of just dropped this on everyone last minute. So, man, this is a fucking long episode. All right. It's up to you guys, but we have 2 more questions. We're going to move through them. So, Caitlyn, this is best life experience. I want you to repeat your question in the way that you want it to be answered, and then you go first. What do you think? Come on.
So I just want. Why am I echoing?
It was Sam, I think.
I just want to ask you guys, like, what in your life has like been the greatest thing that you think you've ever done, and that you would never take it back, and if you didn't do it, you would have regretted it for your whole life?
Okay, so not your greatest experience, but your greatest feat, right? Something that
something that you've done.
That's a feat. Something that you've managed to accomplish in your life that you think is integral.
It could be a feat. It could be an experience. It could be anything.
I guess it is an experience in a roundabout way. Okay, so you first, kid. What do you think is the single-handedly most important thing you've done in your life thus far?
Putting down the controller for this one.
Oh, snap. We're going to stop playing the game for once.
So, when I was in high school, all right, I was in... Don't say uh-oh, all right? Don't do that. Don't look at me like that. So, when I was in high school, I was in band, and, band was really cool. I played the clarinet, for anyone who doesn't know. Thank you. I was pretty cool, and when I was a freshman, why? What's funny?
I was a band geek too, and we were never cool.
I was cool.
Hey,
I was the cool one.
Whatever
all
lets
right?
you sleep at night, kid.
Yes.
Yes.
Yes. But I lost my train of thought. So freshman year, I had taken a keyboard class for some reason. I don't know why the fuck I did it. I just did it. And that's where I met the choir teacher, because he did like both. And his name was Mr. Davis. He was an asshole. And I was really intimidated by him, and he made me join choir the next year, right? And I started to like choir. I started to like choir more than I did band, because I like to sing more than I like to play my instrument. And so junior year, we got a new teacher. His name was Mr. Negron. And he encouraged me, like...
Fancy.
Negron. But he, like, when I was with him, like, he just encouraged me so much that year. Like, he put a lot of energy into me. He would be like, like, Caitlyn, you're going places. Caitlyn, you can do this. He was a great teacher. I loved him so much. He taught me a lot of stuff about music I'd never known before. This is me getting to the greatest experience. Sorry.
Oh, okay, that's
yeah.
fine. Hey, context.
Yeah, so
it's important.
So Mr. Negron, he had known of like a theater director. His name was Patrick, and he was trying to get his ensemble for the next year to be in this play called The Hunchback of Notre Dame, and it was Dame. It's Dame. I'm thinking of Notre Dame. Notre Dame.
No, it's Notre Dame.
No, Notre Dame is the football. Notre Dame is the football team. Notre Dame. Yeah. So he was trying to get his ensemble to be in this play, and ensemble is the choir that you have to audition for. And actually, I had to audition that year because I really wanted to do it. I really wanted to fucking do it, right?
Yeah.
So I went ahead and I auditioned. By the grace of God, I got in. And, like, we started to go to rehearsals and stuff. And then I found out that I was supposed to go to every single show because I had to go to my cousin's wedding. I was a bridesmaid.
So we said, fuck the cousin's wedding.
Yeah, I didn't go. I didn't go to the wedding, actually. I had to stay at my friend's house because I wanted to, like, be in this play. So I had to stay at my friend's house for 3 days without my parents. My parents went to the wedding without me. But, so I was in that play, and I was in that play for 3 weeks straight. And I had rehearsals for 2 months before it. And, I mean, that play it changed me. I can honestly say that. It made me realize that, like, music had been one of the biggest things of my entire life at that point. I mean, it felt like that's what I wanted to do for, like, the rest of my life. Like, singing in front of people. I mean, that experience was something I don't regret. I don't regret going to that, like, not going to that wedding or not seeing my cousin get married. I don't regret it because, like, I had such an amazing experience, like, doing that. I learned a lot. And, I just want to keep doing it. But, music isn't a great career, so...
Hey, it's always a good
I
hobby.
can't, but, that's just, like, that experience, like, helped me realize that, like, if anything, I always have music to fall back on. And music's, like, always been one of the biggest parts of my life. So, just kind of reinforce that.
Okay, cool. So, let's move on next to Sam. What about you, Sam?
Oh, man. Like, I don't think I have anything like that. I mean,
Well, it doesn't have to be exactly that. It could be anything. It could be graduating.
right. Well, my graduation wasn't great, to be honest. It was, and,
Well, how about this? We'll make this a two-part question, or a two choice question. Either something that has, I don't know, that would kind of fuck it up. I was gonna say something that you're planning to do that you think would be your best life experience, because I know you're planning on joining the military. I think that'd be a very eye-opening and awesome experience for you to go through. But I don't know if that would fuck with the original question. What do you think, Caitlyn? Should we allow that?
Yeah.
If you
well,
can't think of anything, man. I don't know.
yeah. I mean, I'm not saying that like my life's exciting, but I definitely have a ton of memories of things that were really cool that I think were just you know, really really exciting. Some great things that I accomplished. I mean, I think it's living normal stuff. Like, I think one thing I guess would be I finally graduated from community college. That was I won't say it was a miracle, but it was definitely something that was a burden on me for a while. I started out there pretty fresh and like ready to go because my plan was to go to community college for 2 years, transfer to a 4-year school, and finish there. But my problem was is that I was stubborn about getting help because I thought I was too smart for my own good and I could figure out things myself. And the first couple of years, like first semester and stuff, was great, and then it just got worse and worse. And for a long time, I didn't tell my parents about my grades and stuff like that. And I switched degrees, and that didn't go too well. And then I just didn't go to school for a while. And that was a really big time when I think I was going through a depression, like not clinically or like diagnosed with it, but it wasn't that great. And then, it came to a turning point where I finally was honest with my parents, and I think we reached a point in our relationship that we were being honest and transparent. And I think all that deceiving really hurt my relationship with them. And it took a while to earn their trust back. But after that, we were honest. And from there, they helped me out with, going forward. And, I didn't have that much left to do anyway. So, finishing up school and ended up with 2 degrees. Actually, I got a associate's in science and associate's in art, and I got the art just for the amount of time I was there. I wasn't even going for it. So
Wow.
yeah, it was pretty crazy. And also too, just the fact that I finished it and I got it done was great. And I think then from that point on, it was just like, man, these degrees may not take me anywhere, but at least I did it. At least I finished it. At least I finally got rid of this thing that was burning me for a while. And that was just, to me, like just a milestone. Like it was a phase in my life where I was like, man, I finally did it. It took me long enough, but I finally finished this. And that was like sort of my thing. And then I had a new epiphany. Now I know what my plan is now, but that was just really the start of me moving forward and, actually trying to move on with my life and, being stuck in a rut with that depression and all that stuff really brought me down. So it wasn't the greatest thing, but it was definitely something that I remember that I felt like, man, I did it. I actually finished something for once, I actually went through with it. So, I'm a really smart guy, but I'm really lazy about it. Like I'm a lazy intellectual. like I know I can do the work, and if I apply myself, I do it. But I'm so lazy about things. So, but that's that. But yeah, I would say graduating from community college was pretty great.
All right. What about I guess I'll go next. We're going to leave this the best life experience because I'm going to change my question since we haven't unveiled it yet, but I thought of a different one. So best thing, I have one thing I attempted to accomplish that I thought would be a life changer, but I think that everything happens for a reason, and it hasn't happened, and it did not eventually go through. But I did attempt to go to the military right out of high school, and because of an issue with clerical paperwork, I was sent home early under the notion that they thought I had lied to them. So, real quick to explain the story, TLDR, went to the military straight out of high school, trained here for a year to lose some weight, get into shape, to leave. I had left. I'd spent a month there. I went to Paris Island. I was going into the Marines. I had spent a month at boot camp. I was called... Well, first things first, we have these things that are called rucksack marches. We basically would go really early in the morning with all of our equipment on our backs, about 70 pounds of gear, and we'd go march in these, like, they're kind of tracks, but they weren't actually paved. It was all dirt and shit. I was having issues with my feet. Now, I do have a degree of flat feet. It is not a disqualifying factor whatsoever. They actually have arches there that you can ask for. I did ask for them. And when I went to medical to ask for my arches, they gave them to me. I was signed off for them, blah, blah, blah. I went to go get arches at the RX for the recruits. Now, I was called back into the office maybe 2 to 3 days later. I don't remember exactly. And they had talked to me. They had looked through my paperwork because I had requested arches and saw that I did tell them I have flat feet. That was all in paperwork. That was understood. But they... apparently, I did not divulge the fact that my flat feet were symptomatic. Now, I had no understanding that my flat feet were...
Sorry, I'm sorry.
that
I'm
my
so
flat
sorry.
feet were symptomatic. I had trained for a year. We did running with weights back in my recruitment station. And I never had issues with my feet. So I'm thinking it was a combination of the tracks... being all uneven and shit, the 70 pounds of weight, and it being a long march that was giving me issues. So they checked, and they came back with me saying basically, we're going to have to discharge you for fraudulent enlistment. And they just put me in the separation platoon to be, Jesus Christ, to be processed out. And now I'm back home. I had nothing to show for myself. I didn't even take the SAT. My plan was to go straight to the military. And straight to the military. Go straight to the military. Caitlyn, Jesus.
Don't die.
Go drink some water or something. Goodness gracious. So go straight to the military and then just serve my time and then come home and do college afterwards with the GI Bill. I think that's what it's called. Something like that. So when I came back, I literally had nothing to show for the time I had spent, the year that I had trained.
You had high school.
And, I mean, I had a GED, but that was about it. So I had to go back to school, actually. After I graduated, and I had to go take my SAT on a Saturday. I did that. I got a decent score, started applying to colleges, and now we're doing school, basically. I don't know if I will go back to the military. I think it highly depends on the job market for the position I do go to, and we'll see what happens after that. So, to tell you the truth, I'm going off the fact that it was an experience this time, not a feat. I didn't actually complete this task. I did do the training to get there, but I think the experience itself was something that I would not count as something negative. I learned a lot for the time that I spent there, ways to properly act and stuff like that. I think one of the biggest things, on top of the fact that I could probably push poop out of my bum so fast that you can not time it on a stopwatch. On top of the fact of that, I can very easily deal with stressful situations. I had a big issue with it prior, and the month that I had spent there dealing with basically being screamed at every day, for every hour, for every minute, for every second, that did a lot for my mental aptitude. I think right off the bat, it was very difficult dealing with that. I don't have issues with authority, but I did have a lot of issue with tension and being put in situations like that. and not having a lot of time to think, to do stuff, and just freezing up. But after the first couple weeks, one of the sad things is right before I got processed out, I would say everyone goes through a break in the time that they spend at boot camp, where you're like on the final straw. Am I going to do this or am I going to give up? And you have that final mental hill that you have to push over. I had just gotten over that hill. I was ready to continue. I had gotten out of the rut that I was in with the being put in shitty, stressful situations, and I had learned a few weeks later that I was not going to be staying there anymore. So that was definitely a rough time in my life. And it took me about, what would you say, Caitlyn, almost a month to get processed out.
Yeah, like 3.5 weeks.
So I spent 2 months there, 1 month in training and 1 month in the separation platoon. But we're back here now. Again, I feel everything happens for a reason, but I still would count that as one of the best experiences I've had in my life. That learning, understanding what I do. I still know some of the fucking karate or the hand-to-hand combat that they had taught me and stuff. I know how to disarm a person that comes at you with a weapon, so that's cool, I guess. But I think a lot of it was that mental pressure, and finally getting over that was definitely one of the best experiences that I've had in my life. And as a person, one of the best learning experiences that I've had. So that's probably what I would have to say there. Even though it did not come to fruition, I still count it as a turning point in my life. So finally, I got you, Shawn. What do you think, man?
I don't know.
This question's not
I
an
guess
easy one.
the I've had a lot of high points in my life that I look back on fairly frequently. Parties where I had special moments with my friends, or bonding moments, times when I was the lead in a fairly decently sized musical, or got to do my first play. I think I was always happiest when I was doing plays or singing music or performing, doing some kind of performance.
Yeah.
But I'd say the highest point, I mean, hell, I even had a few dates that are super memorable, that were just super magical. They were like a fucking 80s movie, like they were just that perfect. Like somebody wrote a script for them. But I'd say the highest point, my biggest feat, would probably be my daughter. That'd be my biggest feat. I mean, being somebody who's, as you pointed out earlier, somewhat contrarian by nature and a bit of a pessimist due to me having a couple of issues that forced me to look at the dark side first before I start looking at the light side. It's hard for me to appreciate my life, or to be thankful for the small things when the big things are all fucked up. But the one thing that I know that was perfect was my daughter. Like that day, if I could just delete the wife part out of it, my ex-wife, just delete that girl out of my fucking history, like her face is just a blank, that would fucking make the memory even more perfect. But my daughter coming into this world and being as badass as she is, that was like probably the one of my highest points. I mean, being on stage or catching my first wave, or my best friend Justin, just him being in my life, those are huge high points for me. But that would probably be, I guess, the pinnacle. I mean, I don't spend enough time looking at the good things. I spend most of my time trying to distract myself from the bad things, or find a way around them or through them if there's no other option. So it's not something I think about often enough, to be honest. But my daughter's probably the easiest answer. My second answer would probably be the first time I ever got on stage, and that was a huge thing for me. There was a play. It was fairly big. It was nationally televised, and it was recorded, and what the fuck is that woman's name? Dionne Warwick, who is a fucking nutcase, and I'm not by any means a huge fan of hers, but she has this old ass cornball song called "That's What Friends Are For," and she allowed that song. Yeah, it's a horrible song, but we had to sing that song at the end of the fucking musical. But we were in that. I don't remember there being other music in it. I think that was the only time. But she licensed the song to be used in that play. So we did the entire play, which revolved around a bunch of kids in a clubhouse and what's it called, a soapbox racer, you know, those wooden cars you roll downhill.
Yeah.
And I don't remember the plot of it very well, but I remember I was picked kind of at random. Like my mom was just trying to find some sort of outlet for my talents and my energy. I was a super hyper child, and I was extremely creative, and because of me being a gifted child and having a high IQ, I wasn't exactly attentive in school because I already knew everything. Like I would read the chapter, or when I remember I used to have teachers yelling at me for this because I'd finish the textbook in like a week or less. I'd read the whole textbook, I'd get everything down, and the rest of the year was me acting up, drawing Ninja Turtles on the walls, or fucking passing notes to people and being bored. And of course, when you're bored, you know, you're above things like homework or doing what you're supposed to do in class because fucking you're obnoxious. So, you know, I wasn't exactly on task all the time. It was not easy. It was weird. The schoolwork wasn't hard, but the school itself was hard when I was a kid. Plus, my other classmates didn't appreciate me very much. You know, like I wasn't. It took me a long time to become aware of exactly how strong my build was, and the fact that I was smarter than the people who were bullying me, and more capable than most of the people that put me down. So for the longest time, I believed what they would, all the shitty things they would say about me. So I always felt bad for a long time. And this was one of the first times I felt super good. Like these people didn't know me. So I got thrown into an unfamiliar environment with strangers, and none of these kids went to my school. None of these kids had heard any of the bullshit that people would say about the little China boy or the fucking dork, whatever this, that, the other. And by the way, for the record, I'm not Chinese. It's just my Native American blood that makes me chink-eyed. But the point is I went into this environment, and all of a sudden I was cool. And it was these other. I mean, bear in mind, this is like elementary school. I don't remember how old I was, but these are the beginnings of the drama club from high school. You know, this is their proto form, so to speak. But I walked in without them knowing me, and I became awesome. I was cool, and I got my lines, and I was able to perform things, you know, at least to some sort of adequate level, and people seemed to be fond of what I was doing. And when we performed, we did it in this giant fucking theater. I mean, you go into a mega church or some shit like that, one of those huge ass auditoriums, and this was that sized. And it wasn't just parents that were in there. There was an assload of people. They wrote newspaper articles. It was featured in magazines. It was some kind of a big deal. I don't remember why. And I don't remember much about it, but I remember doing it. I remember nailing my shit. And I remember I had shit so locked that when we went out on stage for the final performance, the big show, the big one, one of the kids froze and forgot his lines. So I ended up pulling his lines too, because I had the whole script memorized. Which means I had my favorite line in the whole fucking thing, because that's the only line I actually remember. Was there's this one line, because the play pit boys versus girls, so to speak. I don't know. It almost reminds me of like an episode of Recess, but they were there for some reason. Like the girls got a hold of the boys' boxcar that we were supposed to be racing, and they painted it fuchsia. And
That's awesome.
one of the lines, huh?
That's awesome.
Yeah, like, you know, that purple pink color.
Yeah.
And of course that's not a boy color. So I came out, like, one of the lines was, one of the kids was supposed to be all incredulous. He was be like, it's fuchsia. And I came out and I pulled that line. That's not how I said it, but I came out, I pulled the line off, and the entire crowd just fucking went wild. And I felt like $1 million. And ever since then, being on stage, whether it's performing music with my band, which I don't have anymore, or performing musicals or plays like The Music Man, which was one of my favorites to do. That one's so much fun. Yeah, dude, I love doing that. And Harold has got to be one of my favorite roles. I mean, it's just so much fun. Or doing heavier things. Like the one thing I never got to do was Shakespeare's Hamlet, which is one I always wanted to do. But anyway, that was a big high point, was being on stage. But most of my most precious memories are experience with friends, things that maybe we did online a few years ago when we were on all the time doing Destiny, or like that first raid when we went through and we were just ragging on each other and laughing so hard we couldn't play right.
Yeah.
Or my friend Justin's birthday party when I quadruple wrapped his birthday presents in porn paper to give him a remote control Batmobile for a 5-year-old. Yeah, and that was his favorite present too. Like little moments are the things that I carry with me. I'm not fortunate enough to have a lot of huge moments, but I don't know. That's all I've got for now. I think that's enough.
All right, we got one more question before we wrap this show up. It's been a long one.
A longy.
That's like you and that was that lit thing that Caitlyn said earlier. You guys inventing words tonight? Yeah, litter,
Damn
longy
straight,
and
dude.
litter.
Yep.
If you guys were a cop show, that would be your cop names.
Okay. My last one is gonna be. I wonder if I want this to be darker or lighter. Something chill. That's not fucking.
Why don't you just do it and see?
Okay, so I'm gonna present both sides here. The darker one is the biggest mental struggle that you have actually overcome. I don't want something that you're currently dealing with, but something you've actually overcome in your life and how you did it. Or, when you think back to childhood, what is like the definitive game that comes into your mind and what caused it to be that way? Or it could be system or a series of games, but when you think back to childhood and gaming, what's the definitive thing that pops into your head that brings you right back? So it's either that one or that one. What do you guys want to do? Huh? Any ideas?
I got one for both.
Well, which one do we want to do, though? Do we want to do the darker or the lighter? Because I don't think we've actually really gotten dark. It's just been deep, kind of.
I kind of wanted the game.
More deep than dark.
I kind of wanted the game. I kind of want to do the lighter one, to be honest.
Okay, so we have one light. Shawn's going for dark. What about you, Keon? You want to do the light or dark?
I'll do the lighter one.
The lighter one? I don't want to make it 50-50. We'll do the lighter one. that will be stuck. Let's flip a fucking coin. Let's do that.
Yeah.
We'll make the dark one
No,
heads.
we can go with the lighter one. You ain't got to go satisfying goth boy.
Well, no, we'll flip a coin because I kind of want to do the dark one too. We'll flip a coin. Dark one is heads. Light one's tails. Okay, Google. Flip a coin. So you guys know.
It still frustrates me that you let Google do that instead of actually flipping a coin. I can't understand.
Flip a
I can't
coin.
even describe to you how
Or we
weird
can
that
roll a
is.
d20.
That would at least be better. That's a physical thing.
I have a
Flip a
buttload
coin.
of d20s.
Everyone shut up.
Sure.
Roll a
You got
D20,
tails.
Gods or
All right, it
ravens.
was tails, so we're doing the lighter one.
Listen, Google is more fair.
Well, it's 50-50 on Google. It's
More
not like more fair, dude.
And a regular coin's not 50-50.
It's
Oh
late.
my
I
lord.
can't think of the word.
All right. So we'll do the lighter one. All right.
What's proper
Since it's
grammar?
my question,
Fair?
I'll start first. But we're going to be doing something when we think back to childhood. What's the first thing that pops into our heads, gaming wise? And I want to say I think some of the best times that I've had when I was younger, I want to say was RuneScape. I'm not gonna lie. Now I love the NES, SNES, GameCube, but a lot of the things with those games, a lot of them were single. I was by myself playing the games. We didn't really have people over all the time. Another one that is really high up there is Halo 3 as well, but I don't consider that childhood. I guess I was only like 10 years ago, so that wasn't that long ago. I want to say RuneScape. And I think a lot of it had to do with the fact that it was me and Caitlyn playing together. And we also had friends that would come by. I know we had friends at school that we would always have that we'd get on together. And it was like my first, I'm going to call it an MMO. It was technically an MMO. My first big boy MMO experience. And just the idea of that game enraptured me so much. We had spent so much time in RuneScape. We literally spent an entire summer playing RuneScape. We didn't have school. We just stayed home all day. We had 2 computers upstairs. One was shittier than the other, and we both played RuneScape the entire day, me and Caitlyn. Leveled together and just did shit together. When the events came out, we would always look forward to it. It was my first kind of like experience with a world that was like encapsulated, right? So it was like its own ecosystem. There was a market where there was prices that would rise and drop that was controlled by the users, and this entire idea just had grabbed me so hard by my non-dropped nuts that I had to play it as much as I could. And we had it just had me completely enraptured by the idea of it, by the fact that it was multiplayer at all times, and you could have a clan with friends and everyone could be playing together, and you could run around and do stuff with others. You could meet new people. I had people I had never seen before in person that could have been 45-year-old men in their basement that I had spent time with and played games with, and just that idea was such a cool fucking idea to me as a person that the moment I think to playing games as a kid, that was it. Like my childhood career of game playing, I probably spent at least 10 to 15% playing fucking RuneScape. That's a big ass number if you count for the fact that that was I'm thinking from 0 to 16, 17, around that time you start to turn more, you get more mature and stuff like that. But that whole time, like 15% of it, RuneScape, is a shitload of time playing that game. So I just absolutely adore that. And when I think back to playing games as a kid, that's the first thing that pops to mind. And every once in a while I'll think back to like certain times, like when we had like the Christmas event would come out, me and Caitlyn would be on first thing in the morning doing the quest to try and get the items in hopes that we could maybe one day get rich. I remember we tried to actually get rich. We're looking for methods to farm and things to sell on the Grand Exchange, trying to make something of ourselves on RuneScape and shit like that.
Those runes though.
Yeah, selling runes, going into the rune farms, mining runes, and selling them on the Grand Exchange, just running back and forth. And I loved every second of that farm, just fucking around and finding out about new quests and all this other stuff. It was a fucking blast, and it was some of the best times we've ever had. Now, again, I think second up there, Halo 3 is really fucking close. Like, really fucking close. But the idea of RuneScape and an open MMO was just had me hooked so much. Halo 3 was fun because I was playing with friends. But the idea of RuneScape is what pulled me in. So I'd say that'd be my answer. So let's see, who's next? Let's do Caitlyn this time. When you think back to, well, I think your answer might be close to the same. What would you say? Would you say Halo would be close, or would you say you'd like RuneScape more? Or even Roblox for that matter. I know we've talked about this on that episode we did. I forget what it was called. 44.
I feel like I like Halo more just because it was on the console.
Okay.
So like playing Halo, it wasn't just for the multiplayer. It was also for like that fucking campaign, man. Like, damn, that game was so good. But like, we also played the co-op together or whatever. We played all those crazy maps and stuff. Like, I feel like that was the first game that really got me, like, into, like whoa, it's a whole new world. Like, our Xbox 360 was...
A whole new world.
A whole fantastic point of view.
Oh, you know the song. I don't know that.
I don't know what else is there.
I don't remember the rest of the lyrics.
I know the
Jasmine's tits. If this rug's the shit.
My little boy pee-pee is a wreck.
Oh my god.
Gonna go.
Gotta make
my
something
dick in the
beautiful perverted.
Damn straight, dude. Hey, dude, they did it
Did you see
themselves.
Jasmine? That bitch was hot.
Didn't they do like
Oh, yeah.
69,
I don't-
69 in the fucking clouds or some
I
shit?
agree.
That was Lion King.
Oh, that
shit. Well,
man,
was close.
that just bulls me. That's for another time.
Stupid.
All right.
That was Lion King.
So Caitlyn,
No, that was Sex. Sorry.
Oh yeah.
yeah, sex was Lion King. Halo 3 or RuneScape? What do you think?
Halo 3.
Halo 3?
Yeah.
Yeah, I think that's a good answer.
And
Halo
our
3
first
was a blast.
Xbox was Halo 3 edition.
Yeah, that game was
We
the
had
shit.
Zunes that were Halo 3 edition.
We didn't have any money, so what it came down to being was every Christmas we either asked for Xbox Live or a game, and for like 3 years we just asked for Xbox Live for a year, pretty much, so we could just play Halo. And with that, you didn't need because you would just be my guest.
Right.
That was fucking game changing. That shit. So we could always play online together, no matter what, and just split screened.
Exactly.
Fantastic. And then they took it out on Halo 4. Because why not? So yeah, definitely. Halo 3 is definitely really high up there on my list too. So what about you, Sam? What do you think? When you think back to childhood, what game pops into your head?
Well, that's the problem is I have a few games, but
That's fine.
I'm gonna answer this a little bit differently. So for me, gaming came down to my dad. And the first system I ever had was an NES. And I just remember him and this was like years after it came out. So it wasn't like, fresh off the, factory line, but and that's how it always was. I always had the gaming system later. Like I never got it fresh. I think the only time I ever got it fresh was probably the Nintendo Switch is probably the only system I've had that was fresh like the year it came out. So but no, back to it. So I just remember for me childhood was me playing a game, my dad watching me. And he did play games with me, but just he would, like I said, he's always a great encourager. And even when I was doing something so stupid as playing a game, like doing Duck Hunt or Mario Brothers, he always would just encourage, do this, do that, hey, watch out for that. He always gave me, he was always there, even if it was something that, I like to do. It was what he likes gaming stuff now, but I'm sure he didn't like it. He wasn't a big fan of it, but he always took interest in what I liked. And I think that's so important for a parent to do. But I would say the most memorable thing me and him did was Champions of Norath. It was a PS2 game, and it was a two-play. It was a co-op game, but it was such the simplest thing. It was basically a dungeon crawl. But what it made me so memorable was that I showed it to him. He was like, "Can I play with you?" I said, "I don't know. This game seems a little difficult." He said, "I'll try." And we played it, and man, I had so much fun with him. He chose the barbarian because it was really easy and he could smash stuff. I chose like the archer or the mage, but just playing with him and all the hours we spent was just it's the reason why I still play games today. And even if it's not a co-op game or not even with him, it's just time that I spent with him was just so memorable. And when we got to play Diablo 3, that was awesome too. Even though how much trash people talk about that game, I still loved it and we played it for hours and hours, just like Champions of Norath. And just being able to share something that I enjoyed and that he grew to love was just so awesome. And thankfully he's still around, and whenever I do have kids, I'll be able to do that with my son or daughter, and he can do that with his granddaughter or grandson. And and there have been times when my gaming has, I've let gaming affect me with school and stuff, and he's reminded me. He always says, "Man, I always regret giving you them games." But then after that, it's like I show him that I'm in control, and I can, control the times, and be responsible about it. And he's been pretty understanding. So just anytime I got to play games with my dad was probably the most memorable thing when it came to childhood. Was just, and even when he would just watch, like I actually played Skyrim, and he just watched because he just knew it was something I enjoyed, and he liked the world that was in. And I'd ask him, "Hey, what should your character say here?" or whatever. It was just the time for us to bond together, and that's what I come back to is that first time I had my NES, and I was playing Duck Hunt, and he was saying, "Get him, gotta shoot him faster." So that was when I think of gaming childhood. That's what comes to mind.
That's awesome. Cool. What about you, Shawn?
Just let you know, I almost teared up. By the way,
I heard it, dude. I was hearing it, man. I heard it. That's awesome, dude. That's really cool. What about you, Shawn? He just like cuts in, just like bawling. It's so touching.
When I first got into games, the media was changing big time. They went from being that kind of paper thin stuff that you got on like Ataris and Commodore 64s and shit, which was before my time, into Nintendo, where you were getting fleshed out experiences. So I came into a lot of franchises that you guys know and love on the ground floor. And I'm, like, as you're aware, I'm a diehard Castlevania fan. But my imagination was captured by these things. It was like, and of course, with a lot of the platformers back then, the plot wasn't necessarily delivered to you terribly thick. I mean, over time, people experimented with the format and started giving you story and platformers and things like that. You get text boxes and whatnot. But in the original, you'd read the pamphlets they came with. Back in my day, we had instruction booklets, which were fucking awesome. They had art in them and story. And I was profoundly influenced by Mario, Link, Simon Belmont from Castlevania, Mega Man, like all I mean, even later on, like I got into Metal Gear because my aunt bought it from like Home Shopping Club or some shit like that for $10. It were profoundly huge to me. And if I hadn't fallen in love with those experiences, I wouldn't have expanded into role playing. Because before you get into RPGs, that's like it's very intimidating to get into a game where there's no action happening. Like back in the day, it was a static picture and you would choose fight or run or cast your spells. In Final Fantasy, I'm sure you've seen pictures of what the classic images look like where the enemies are on the left and you're on the right. And in Dragon Warrior or Dragon Quest, you just had a static image of the enemy and you'd press attack. And I actually played Dragon Quest before I played Dragon Warrior. And I guess if I was to answer it completely, I'd say it's both the original classics on the NES, all the ones that you can think of, Kid Icarus and Metroid and The Legend of Zelda and Super Mario. Although, to be honest, I beat the shit out of Super Mario on my Nintendo, but I played it even more in the arcades. Super Mario 3, Mega Man, Castlevania, Ninja Gaiden, that kind of shit. But where I really blew up in games, I went from being somebody who just did them because they were fun to doing them because I cared about what I was doing, was playing the Dragon Warrior series. And I'm known for being a squarehead for a long time now, and I Squeenix now. But Enix was actually the one that got me into role playing, because the ones on computers were boring. They were way too deep to originally jump into, like the old Dungeons and Dragons role playing games. They had this first person Shadowgate kind of way that you navigated maps and cities and shit, and like trying to keep your bearing when you've got a static picture and you press forward and now you've got another static picture is difficult as fuck to do now. It was even harder to do when you're, like fucking 8 or 10 or whatever. And then on top of that, it just wasn't very evocative in terms of emotions or imagery. So when they did the like Final Fantasies and the Dragon Quests, you were now able to experience a book interactively. It was like my favorite fantasies, only I wasn't holding a book, I was playing it, and that was like huge to me. So that's a fucking game changer. The original Dragon Warrior, the plot is fucking stupid and paper thin, and it's almost not there. And the same, or I'm still calling it by its American name, Dragon Quest. The original Final Fantasy didn't have the strongest plot either. It was. I'm replaying it on my phone now, just because, and it still plays more like just a challenging game than something that's got me riveted by the plot. They didn't start doing that until the sequels. But so if I was to say what my first love was, it was the classics on Nintendo. If I was to say what turned me into a gamer, it was Dragon Warrior, playing Dragon Warrior 2 and then Dragon Warrior 3 and then Dragon Warrior 4 on my friend's Nintendo. I mean, fuck, I went over to his... I used to make friends with people just because they had Nintendos, because we couldn't afford one. I didn't get one until the year before the Super Nintendo came out. And then I had to wait another year to get a Super Nintendo. But I had all these games from like the year or two that I did have the Nintendo that I played the shit out of. And the first one I got was Dragon Warrior, because I ordered a subscription of Nintendo Power because it came with a game for free if you had the subscription. And I begged and pleaded my mom to do it. So she bought it as like a birthday present or something. And I still have it. I still have the cartridge, the box it came in, the promotional materials, because it came with some extra shit, like in a map for Dragon Warrior 2. And I still have the puffy envelope that it shipped in.
Nice.
Because that was my first Nintendo game. That was the first one that I owned. It was mine. I used to take it out and I would smell the manual and I'd hold the game, just wondering what it'd be like to play it. I couldn't wait.
And you start raw dogging the console, right?
You know, so when I first got my console, it came with that famous dual card with Duck Hunt and Mario on it.
Oh fuck
yeah! And I played the shit out of those. But what I really fucking played all the time was Dragon Warrior, and I had played all those other games, Mega Man and Castlevania and stuff at friends' houses. But that was my first game that was mine. And so, even though those other franchises are super beloved to me, if I had to pick one defining gaming moment from my childhood that brought me to where I am, it would be Dragon Quest. It'd be the first Dragon Quest. Shitty plot and all. You have to stop this guy because he's a bad guy. Okay, let's do it. And that's all, pretty much all you get. And then you just go and level up till you're strong enough to kill a bad guy. It wasn't horribly complicated. Later on, you got actual like decent plot and nuanced characters. Even more so in Final Fantasy, because of course that was the next logical jump. Going into the Final Fantasy 2 and Final Fantasy 3, which retrospectively was it 4 and 6?
Yeah, I think it was 4 and 6.
Yeah. So like that was what got me here. That was way longer than I planned on. I should have just said Dragon Quest and then shut up.
That's fine, man. Hey, that's the whole point of this episode.
Yeah. That was 8-bit, got me to 16-bit, got me to 32-bit. I was a huge fanatic, man. I couldn't get enough of it. It wasn't until Xbox came out that I started getting tired of all the stupid bullshit that I saw video game companies doing. And then now I'm less pissed off at console manufacturers than I am the fucking software manufacturers who are just constantly a thorn in my ass.
All right. Well,
I wish Sega would enter the console race back again. It was always fun watching Sega and Nintendo fight.
Yeah.
It's not so much fun watching Xbox and Sony do it because they're both idiots.
Slapping each other with their hands.
Yeah.
Exclusive.
Oh, God.
All right. Well, that would do it for our main topic. Man, quite a long episode. We're glad all you guys could tune in and hang out with us if you did and you made it to the end. We appreciate it. Any of these questions you heard, if you have an answer and you want to share it with us, feel free to. There's so many ways you guys can speak with us. We'd appreciate it any way that is comfortable with you. Email, YouTube comment, Discord. I think that's it. But yeah, if you guys want to come over and stop by and just answer these questions, give us your thoughts, your feedback. We would love to hear from any single one of you. We really appreciate all you guys tuning in every week and listening to us dumbasses talk. It's really nice.
Oh yeah, we do.
It's really, really nice just getting that feedback. It helps so much with making these episodes every week. When you hear from the people that are listening to you and you know you're actually affecting someone else, it's really a great feeling. So Caitlyn had to step out because she had like 3 tests tomorrow or something like that, and she completely forgot about it. So she quickly hauled ass out of the room. So her condolences. She loves you guys too, although it may not always seem like it. She's happy to be on this podcast as well, I'm pretty sure. So we're going to go ahead and call it an episode like I was saying. We'll do some outros real quick. We'll start with you, Sam. Go.
Life may give you lemons, and you may not be able to make lemonade, but making something out of something crappy is the way to go. So go beyond. Plus ultra.
There you go. I've been putting in the sound clip for you every episode.
Well,
When I
fears
can, when you
I was
ask
on
the
the
question.
episode.
Yeah, it's beautiful. We got your own rendition. Rendition. What about you? What about you, Shawn? We've been talking for 3
As
hours.
always, from the pervy member of the crew, hugs and kisses and all your pink parts.
Indeed. Always getting me excited.
Oh,
when
you know what?
say
That does make me bring up one thing Sam reminded me of real quick now. Even pervy shows have their place. They still belong there. Every kind of show has its place. Yeah, he had mentioned that, there's these kinds of shows or that kind of shows, and he wasn't saying that they
again?
don't, but I'm just like, yeah, with anime,
Oh,
like,
what the fuck?
even the ones, I'm just saying, like, they all have a place. They all have a purpose.
Okay.
Just because, if somebody finds something unpleasant doesn't mean that it's horrible. It's just you know what I'm saying? Like, I don't know. Anyway, hugs and kisses and all your pink parts. Mwah.
Yeah, okay. One last segue before we call it, I guess.
That way.
Indeed. And before we go, I shall leave you all with a thought.
That he's going to look up real quick.
I already have it. Bitch, I've been ahead of
Oh,
you.
really?
Oh, wow.
Oh.
All-
You got that? You learned how to use a space bar? You're
I'm
coming on
growing
up, man.
I'm growing up. Okay, before we go, I shall leave you all with a thought. All polar bears are left-handed.